Hey, ladies.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. How are you?
Girl, I'm excited. I'm excited. My heart is like this. My heart is like this. My heart is like this.
I can hear.
I see.
I can hear.
It's been that kind of a week when this man said yes. Girl, you would have thought it was like Kelly Price saying he proposed to me. I was like,
Shh.
God.
Somebody mute her. Let's not do that yet.
So no, listen, not in love, that type of proposal. I'm talking about the
I
excitement of the
know. I'm
proposal.
saying let's not do that yet. Let's warm
Honey,
them.
I can't hold my peace. Lord, I'm about to be like Shirley Caesar and be like, some Lord, hold my mule.
So is it going to be that type of experience? Or are we just not going to be able to just control the conversation? Like
No,
what?
ma'am. No. I
We're
hope you're
gonna be
ready,
able to control
Cuzzo.
it. We're gonna be able to control it. Trust me, because the gentleman that's
Mm,
in the room, he has that amount of control that he can capture your attention where you will have to be like the show Listen. Like they said, if you what you say, Ree, about listen, if you what? You're gonna make me say it, aren't you? You're gonna make me say it. You're gonna make me say it.
I'm like,
She's gonna make me say it only because for years she's been telling me and I've never been listening. So finally I'm listening and she's like, oh my God, you got to tell me again. You just gotta tell me.
I'm just gonna let you have your moment here.
No, I don't want my moment. This is a shared opportunity. So tell me, what did you say about listen? Go ahead.
You just gonna have to listen. Just gonna have to listen because I mean I'm already blown away. So we just gonna have to listen. I have my notebook and my pen, so I need to take some notes.
she ready.
So I'm ready. So go ahead.
So talking about being ready, in order for the experience to officially begin, we cannot do it without our hospitality department. So since she ready, can we bring the hospitality department to warm and welcome everyone at home?
Come on in the room. Come on in the room.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Know. That is the KNOW Duo Show. We hope that you are as excited as Sean is, and is just spewing over for what it is that we're happening now. So go ahead and share that love, share that live. Please know that we are on all of our YouTube stations, no matter which station you are there. We are look. Oh, okay. No matter what station you are listening to, we are there. Also, please know that right after this, it will be downloaded onto our podcast. So, no matter which podcast app you listen to, just type in TKBSDS Productions, and we are there as well. If you're coming in under Facebook, we are there under three different ways. You're under the Know, that is the KNOWBS Duo Show. You're also under our sister chat. So please, my sisters and my brothers, make sure you allow StreamYard to put your name out there. And to all of the Vibe Tenders. I hope you guys are ready. We are going to have an amazing, amazing time. And don't forget that if you get cut off here or if somehow you can't hear, it's okay. Go ahead and go to our.com, which is TKBSDS Productions. And we are there live right now, uncut and unmute. So, welcome to the experience, guys.
You're talking and you're on mute. We can't hear what you're saying.
I told y'all wanted me to control my peace today. I said, let me mute myself now.
OMG. So it's cold outside, but it's already warm in the studio.
Yes, it is.
So,
So, can I tell y'all what had happened was?
what happened was?
Okay. So y'all know hashtag WHHW. What had happened was this. So it was like, I guess what, 4:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
And I was up. Now, you guys know usually it's the opposite way. I'm usually going down at 4:30. But this time I woke up out of nowhere for no apparent reason. I couldn't understand why. And this gentleman's TikTok jumped up and he was speaking. I was like, are you serious? Like, no, this can't be real. What? So then I went to TikTok to try to find them because it was on somebody else's page. It was on somebody else's page. And that's why I always tell you it may not be for you, but it may be for somebody else. So always share the love and share the live and share the experience because whatever the message may come from somebody you don't even know. And tonight, when I tell you, after I finally did find him and everything that he explained and said, I had to reach out and say, yo, I need you to come on the No BS Duo show because we have to give the no brutally sweet from every parts of the world. And he matched perfectly. So that's what had happened. 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, seriously, Sean, why are you up? But yeah.
So then you know that was not why you was up, that you were up purposely designed just for this conversation to take place, just so that our viewers, along with ourselves, can be fed on this wonderful, wonderful Saturday when we have nothing else to do because it's too cold outside. It's too cold to be outside.
But you know what? Not only that, it's all out of love. Because by the time we get finished here, you're going to understand we loved you enough to tell you something that I believe is going to be very beneficial.
So my cousin will have something to say.
Yeah,
My daddy is here.
Oh Lord,
My dad's here. I just want you to know that dad's here.
So I saw the wave going. So I thought she was about to amen my sermon. And then I saw the comment. I was like, she's not giving me my props right now. She's not propping me right now.
Hi, Dad. How you doing, Daddy? Thanks for coming through. Yes, everyone, our father is in the building. The man in the red car from the Carolinas has entered the room.
Now, so to agree with Cuzzo, I just had to get that out because I saw a dad pop up and I just forgot everything that everybody else was saying.
Lord, mercy.
But
he has
yes,
an effect on women. He really do.
the good thing about that is because we know your schedule. So we know how you are up late and then that is your resting time. So I think that that is absolutely awesome. I do believe that it was strategically designed for you to get your rest so you can be up because unbeknownst to the world, when Sean sees something, she's like forever. So I promise you, from 4 o'clock until about 9 o'clock, she probably watched all of the TikToks that went along with. So you needed that rest. You needed that rest, so then you'll be able to be up. And then love you too, Dad. You guys had to be there. Y'all had to be there. So, but you needed that rest. In all honesty, you needed that so you can be up, so you can have their energy to go through and look at the TikToks, to review the message, to get the message. Because if it was the other way around and you were just going down at that time, you wouldn't have seen it.
No.
Exactly.
And you
Exactly.
may not have been able to receive it
Right.
in the way that you did.
Right.
Right.
And you know what really caught my eye is because he said,
Well, wait. Don't say what he said. Is he here? Is my
he
question.
is here.
He
He
is here.
is here. And I believe he's ready. And I'm going to have to ask him to do it in the way that he did it with the TikTok. He walked straight up to the camera and he said,
All right. Well, I'm ready. Let me back up some. Let me get in
I'm telling you,
student
listen. And
position, because I was taught in school that you should not hunch over. You should sit up with your head up and your shoulders
Mhm.
back so that you're paying attention. So I'm ready. Go ahead.
please, please, ma'am, please, sir. This is the one. I always say it every week. I know. But this is definitely something you are definitely going to want to tell someone else about, because this right here is about to tell you something that maybe you didn't know, or maybe you did know, but you didn't know it from this angle. So,
So,
everyone,
oh,
introducing the
introduce
inspirational speaker and book writer,
inspirational speaker and
author,
author.
yes,
Yes.
and
And
man that is on the healing land
the
of all
healing
men and
of
women,
men,
Mr.
Mr.
Leon.
Leon Walker.
How y'all doing tonight?
Hello, good evening. I was getting ready to say Leon Lonnie Love, girl, don't do it. Because the way you was saying that man's name, I'm like, we are not going to stay here and play with Mr. Walker's name. This is what we ain't going to do. Good evening, beloved. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you for
into
joining us.
the experience tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I'm so, so glad that you were able to say yes. And then after having the conversation that we had building up to the experience, I must say it was not only mind blowing, but it was healing for me, because we always want to know why. And after we heal, we kind of still don't know why, but we push past and push forward. But you were able to unlock that key that go make us go, oh, so when they said it wasn't about me, they were right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
can you please tell them the TikTok that you said when you walked up to the camera and you said, let me bring you up so you can tell everybody.
Which one you talking about, Shauna? Which was it? Was it the one where how was he able to just walk away?
Yes, the one.
Yeah, my thing. You ready for me to start?
Go ahead, baby.
My thing was so I could always get women, right? And I'm not bragging, but it wasn't hard for me to get women, but it was hard for me to keep them. And so going into every relationship, even my marriage, I knew that it was only a matter of time before she became aware of who I really was, because I could talk a good game with my military background, 32 years being around a bunch of grown men. My first, I think 8 to 10 years where there was only men on ships. I heard men talking about women, how they used them, how they abused them, how they disrespected them, and so I learned a lot. And there was don't get me wrong, there was some good men on the ship with me, but I learned a lot about how to manipulate and being vindictive and all of that, because going overseas, you can just step up at 18 years old and get any woman you wanted, as many women as you wanted. And most times overseas, getting a woman was like $20 an apple. Depends on where we were. No disrespect to the women, but that's just the way that was the culture. Thailand, the Philippine Islands, Singapore, everywhere. And so I always knew that I was, and I learned in my therapy that I was dealing with abandonment issues. I was dealing with avoidance. And so I was always halfway into the relationships, halfway out when I was going in. But I knew it was just a matter of time before I started running away, getting nervous, because I could talk a good game, but I didn't have staying power, and I didn't have longevity. So I just had to start telling the truth about this. I screwed up all of my relationships. All of my relationships, morally, women were better than I was. They were stronger than I was morally. And so I kind of, and with integrity and character, I talk about that a lot. But the women had more than I did, and they were a lot more serious than I was. I wasted 24 years in relationships. I had two 6-year relationships, and my marriage was 12 years. And all the women that I had were good women. I was on a radio show in 2018 or 19, and he said, it was a Chat Daddy show in Chicago. He said, when do you know that you have the right one? And my answer to that was, I always had the right one. They had the wrong one in me, and so I would never admit to that. I had a lot of I had a lot of pride. I had a huge ego, but my ego was very fragile. You know, I was very prideful. I enjoyed lying to women because it made me feel good. I had a lot of insecurities, but I would never say that. You can look at me on the outside, and you wouldn't be able to tell because I was always decently dressed. I wore a uniform, so I was just a nicely wrapped present, but I was never present in the relationships. And so it was always I knew for me, for myself, and I don't speak for other men. I stay in my own lane. I don't throw anybody under the bus. But I knew that um, it was easy for me to walk away because I knew that I wasn't the right person for her ever. You know, and even in a 6 year relationship or a 12 year marriage, I was just struggling with my demons. My motivation was always outside of my relationship and not inside of my relationship. So I was the one to say, you know what, it's not you. And a lot of times, and I would say we as men, some men say, you know what, it's baby, it's you. I mean, it's me. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. But we never explained that to them. For me, it was like it's not her. It's me. She's too much for me.
Wow, wow, and wow, and
Yeah.
wow, and wow, and wow, and wow. Like
Yeah.
it just really unpacked a whole lot within not even 20 minutes of the experience. And you said some powerful words that just shows how sincere you are and how you've grown and matured and you learned from it and you stood on it and you said these words that a lot of us have heard in the past, but the way we were taught is if a man say these things, he's lying, he's playing you, and he's trying to make him, like you said, babe, it's not you, it's me. I had a gentleman say that to me, and I knew it wasn't me, I knew it was him. But the fact that he was strong enough to say, babe, it's me, it's not you. Back in the day, we was taught if a guy said that to you, he was playing you. And you should take that because you can help him, you can mold him, you can change him, and you can break him, and you can show him that it's not him, it is you, and y'all can work together. You can build on it. Like that's a strong man right there. Then you also use the word ego and prideful, and you said that you were not the right person and you played on those emotions. But first, you also said that it was avoidance and abandonment, and you was in the service. So I talked to a lot of guys who were in the service, and they said that being overseas, when any woman saw that you was from a particular area, they just flocked towards you because you're like the best thing on the island,
Right.
and they gave you whatever you wanted and
Right.
however you wanted it, and it didn't
Yeah.
matter if it was $2 or $20.
Right.
And that kind of like set the stage of how you continue to go through relationship because you were taught at that early age that that's what relationship was, that's what it was supposed to be,
Right.
that's how you were supposed to get the woman. And you just put all that just like in, I'm gonna say I must have talked to maybe 15 guys, and you said everything that they said when we had these conversations just like in 20 minutes, and it was just like, yeah, this is real, this is where it is.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say is wow, wow, and wow, and woo, and wow, wow.
I think that the act of self discovery is awesome by means of anyone when they obtain it. But to hear a man openly say that I have received the gift of self discovery and I'm not afraid to say how I am, to say how I feel, to say this is what is going on. I think that that is absolutely awesome. Because for one, I honestly believe that at your weakest state, you were strong and
Mhm.
you were so weak at a point in state, or at least from what I gathered from it, like you were there. This is what's going through. This is what I'm going through. It's like us ladies, we go
Mhm.
through that act all the time where we
Mhm.
get that aha moment. And there may be a lot of men that also get that aha moment, but for you to stand on that aha moment and to do 1000% transformation. I think that that is awesome. So I just want to say before we even continue, just thank you for being so weak and showing us and our family, because we call them family, in this experience, how they can also build on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we
Thank
have a gentleman that said this was and welcome to the experience, Jerry. And
Jenny.
read, you express what Jerry had to say.
Jenny says some women think the one you marry got everything, but sometimes the one that got away is the lucky one. That's
Yeah,
true.
I like to call that the bullet dodge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you always say, "Woo, I got girl." When I found out what it, I dodged that bullet. And Dad said,
Dad
"Wow,
just said
wow, wow." Like,
But you want to know why a lot of times people think that is because the one that some people say, or at least, okay. I think we should have did our disclaimers, because I just want to say, like, I am so here for this entire conversation. Like, I am so here for this before we even finish. But a lot of people say, well, the one that got away was the lucky one. But in what aspect? The
right.
one that the gentleman chose to open up to and show his weakness is the one that won. And not saying that they got together, not saying that they stayed together, not saying that they're happily married and they have a million kids, but the one that he chose to break his wall down for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that goes
Yeah.
into concept where, you might be dating somebody, right? And then y'all break up, and then 2 months later he's married and engaged. And you're like, oh my goodness, well, what happened? Well, there
Mm-hmm.
was something that he felt as though he couldn't be vulnerable, because men go where they feel safe.
Right.
And they
Right.
they break down their walls for the person that they are safe in front of. My step up father, y'all know my step up daddy. My step up father was very vulnerable, in front of my heart as a whistle on the outside, just like Mr. Leon said. But the one that they can show them true selves and the weakness in front of is
Mm-hmm.
is the one that they do it for. Now, I'm not saying that just because he showed his weakness that was going to be his wife. It just meant that there was something that I
That
can
was
be
the comfort.
myself. No walls, no.
Yeah.
What we do all the time, ladies, for every man, right? For every
Yeah.
man, we automatically, the walls are going. We're like, yeah, cat, dog, mouse, rat, pick a fence,
Mm-hmm.
yada, yada, yada. It takes a man a long time to do that.
Yeah.
So, you
And I
know,
was taught that was called the no judgment zone.
the no judgment zone. I was going to
And
say the
those,
same thing, because
yeah.
that is what we did,
Mm-hmm.
and that was what my father had. The no
Mm-hmm.
judgment zone, no matter what it is, the one that they can communicate with, the one that they can sincerely break that wall down to, is the
Mm-hmm.
the lucky one. It can be for a year, it can be for a month. Just because their wall is broken doesn't mean that they got married. Or the one who we didn't break the wall down with, the one that got away, was the lucky one.
Right.
you know what? Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
You
Right.
ain't see how we all got silent? It was
Right.
like,
The professor is
Here's the
speaking.
thing. There are the ones that I like let my guard down with, and I don't think men will say this. I'll say it though. This is for me. The one that I let my guard down with was the one that was like a mother to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that because the ones that I cheated on and got caught, they were more like they became my opponent, and I needed a proponent. And so if I let my guard down with her, and she's already angry with me because she didn't forgive me, it's gonna always be a struggle, because now it's like, oh, she's on to me. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
a voice in the relationship. I can't do anything. She's watching me. She's checking my phone. She's wondering where I'm going. But the ones that said, okay, Leon, I understand where you coming from, why you did what you did. It hurt me, but I understand. That was motherly to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so for men that are broken like I was from my childhood, and my mother, I love my mother to death, still do. She died in 2012 from crack addiction. We had a great relationship, but it was divided. It was stretched out because of her addiction. But anyway, my mother, we lost our house when I was 11. I was sent to live with somebody else. And then when my mother started getting high, I lost my mother again. And so then when she passed away, I lost her again. So my 32-year career was always like, Mom, I love you. Where you at? I need, but I was looking for that in my, not only like my girlfriend, but I want her to be motherly, but not too motherly. I want her to understand. I want her to forgive me, even though as a little boy, I got caught stealing, spinning the bottle. I got caught doing all kind of stuff, watching inappropriate movies. But my mom always embraced me and said, okay, this is what's going on. This is why you did it. I love you. I'm there for you. I wanted my girlfriend to do that when I got caught doing something wrong. Instead of punishing me, I knew I was wrong, help me. I haven't gone through therapy yet. And so instead of punishing me and put me down, and I wanted them to nurture me. And so those are the ones I let my guard down with. Now the ones that were like always pissed off, like, you shouldn't have did this, blah, 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 and talking down to me and calling me names and mistreat me. I did deserve that. But I want to be healed, but I don't know how to be healed. But until I get healed, I need you just to understand that I'm a broken man. I have issues. I got demons. And then I would let my guard down with them all the time because they were just nurturing. But the main thing was that I didn't fear them doing what I did to them. I didn't have any fear of that. I trusted them. And so the ones that I did trust, even though I cheated on them, they didn't do anything wrong. They became very, very upset, and we fought a lot. And it was always a constant reminder, holding something over my head. So ladies, if you got somebody that's trying to know that he messed up or he screwed up, don't hold it over his head and punish him. Don't keep him down, make him suppress it. Welcome with open arms and then say, hey, okay, moving forward. And I know a lot of women do that. They'll say, okay, you know what? I understand, you did what you did, and maybe this is why you did it. Because the women that I dated, they already knew who I was before I was able to tell them who I was. They can see my heart. I didn't want to show my heart, but they could see that I was a decent dude, a good guy. I just had issues from my childhood that were unresolved. So the ones that let my guard down were the ones that nurtured me and helped me, and I needed that. But I was fighting that because I'm macho. I don't want to cry. I don't want no hugs. Just understand me is what I was trying to say to them. And some did, some didn't.
Right. And that's a big pill to swallow for a woman who can do that, because a lot of women don't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to be that mother, because we were taught back in the day too that you're not supposed to mother your boyfriend. You're not supposed to help him grow up. He's supposed to come to you already this way, that way. So when you do have a relationship and you do have a woman who can say that, that's commendable on both sides of it. And
Right.
for our friend Jenny, who's joining us, very good question, but at what cost to the woman?
Right. So at what cost? Right. So women have to be careful with that, because I was a chameleon, but at the same time, I want you to console me. I want you to understand me. I want you to forgive me. But if you do it to me, I'm not going to forgive you. I was like that. I was like, I could do it, but you can't do it. If you do it to me, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to run away. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to be very vindictive and become very manipulative, which was part of my personality disorder. So I didn't know how to forgive, but I wanted to be forgiven. So women, that's a great question. At what cost to the women? They have to be careful. So to forgive, but not to ever forget, because for me, I'm going to do it again. Because you accepted me, you took me in, and I did that. I was very repetitive with my behavior, very repetitive. And she's right. At what cost? So if you want to stay around with me, I have to first show you over and over and over again. I have to put myself in therapy. I didn't go into therapy until I was 47 years old. So all the women before that, it was a cost. It was a cost for them to take me back, and they would always do it because I'm come back nicer and better. And it may last for 3 days, it may last for a week, but it ain't gonna last too long, because I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. I was closer to the devil, more close to the devil than I was to God. There was times where I didn't believe in God, because the devil gave me what I wanted, what I needed, what I thought I needed in life. But me being pure was boring to me. Being good was boring to me. Being devilish, always seeking danger, is what excited me. And I don't know if it was because I created this person by going into the military, like I'm tough, I'm hard, I'm strong. I don't know what it was, but my ex-wife used to always say, you're always attracted to danger and alarms and fights and all this stuff. I'm not a fighter, but I could go watch people fighting and maybe break it up or whatever, but I was always attracted to things that were impure, things that were unhealthy, things that were very dangerous. That's where I got my motivation from. It was like being calm and not arguing. I couldn't sit still. I didn't like that. It was like fight, argue, sex, drink, fight, argue, sex, drink. And that was killing me. But to me, I was like, this is the life,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But again, and Jenny, this is where the woman in you and your growth come in at, because at that point, so before I even say what I'm about to say, our disclaimers are needed. I must say, we have to put our disclaimers out there. Again, welcome to the No BSDUO show. We have a disclaimer here that we like to inform you of before we say anything else. And so since I'm already talking, I might as well go ahead and start my disclaimer. Ladies, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Go ahead.
My disclaimer is what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. However, we're here to give you a different perspective, a different outlook on what things may be. It may be your shoe to wear. However, Cinderella, you can either put the suit on or put the shoe on. It's up to you. But at the end result, this is a smorgasbord. Eat whatever you want to eat, and whatever you don't, leave it. However, remember, whatever you find out is at your discretion to either better you or stay with you. It's your decision. But this is what I have to say about my decision. And that's my disclaimer. Ree?
So my disclaimer is I don't have a disclaimer. And I don't, because tonight is about learning and it's about healing. So if I am going to offend somebody about something that I'm saying, because I'm going to amen my brother's sermon, which a lot of women don't do. I'm going to give this man his kudos. I'm going to back him up. And when the woman is in the wrong spot, I'm going to be the one to say, Mr. Walker is correct, guys. Ladies, you need to do so. I'm going to piss you guys off tonight, but it's okay. I love y'all in spite of, and we're here to learn and grow together. And you can inbox me later and I can tell you why I feel how I feel. It's okay.
Val?
Yeah, well, I already said mine.
So listen, where I was going to go with this was this. Women. Okay, Suzanne. Well, listen. When you as a woman hasn't healed yourself, you're going to keep holding on to a man such as so because you believe this is the man, like Sivita said earlier, this is him, I can fix him. But I'm here to let you know, you cannot treat your men like you treat your outfits on a clearance sale. You cannot pick up this man and dress him up and say, you're going to be what I need you to be. Because you hear the word, is what I need you to be. You're forgetting something. It takes two. And it wasn't because Rob Bates put it in the music. It was because I have to understand you and you have to understand me. However, you have an option. And the option is you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay with that type of a man. So the cost is because you decide maybe this is something I think I can invest in and I can fix. But at what point? Now I have to revert and say, what point do you stop costing yourself your investments? And you realize I'm too much for this. Well, this is too much for me. This is who he is. You have the option to say, do I stay and help him or do I leave? So it's not about at what cost, because sometimes we're paying for stuff that is not ours and we're paying for stuff that do not belong in our closet, but we put it on anyway. And then we say, oh my God, I wasted my time. Why did I do that? Yeah, you know why I can say that? Because I was that woman. So tonight is about that healing woman that deals with that type of man before therapy and after therapy.
Right. So we those tenderonis that go from the beginning to the end. You know, those ones that I met you when you were down and we came together and now we came on the opposite end and we grown and we grew together. I didn't kick you while you were down. I didn't judge you while you were down. I didn't sit there and belittle you while you were down, because that's what a lot of women are taught, because we were taught that men should be strong. Men are not emotional. Men should not cry. And that whatever they do, and some sorry women, some of our household, we were raised that way because we had a passive mom. We had a cheating father, or we had a cheating mother and a passive father. So we always kind of look for who we gravitate towards, who you remind me of, what's familiar to me. And it could be that you remind me of something that I was secure as a child, but as an adult, I can't be that person anymore because I've grown. So when you grow, your man is growing with you. And to me, it's a lot better when you guys can grow together. Sometimes y'all grow apart and then come back later and be like, oh, so now you're in a better place, I'm in a better place, and now we're better together. So that's also what your cost of what are you willing to lose? Because sometimes we put that burden on ourselves, like Shawna said, that we can fix you, we can change you. We don't want to be alone. We don't want to be known as a failure. Right. And then we have those men who sit and say, you know what, she's a good woman, I'm going to do right by her. And you try so hard But then we got that one in our ear, and like a very important part that you said, we don't listen to God because God's not in it. We have self in it, and we're battling with ourselves. We're not letting God come in and facilitate and gravitate and be the healer for what needs to be done. See, I could talk about this type of stuff all night.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. So before we get to Jenny, what it is that Jenny said, I just want to cash in on mine. In my household, I was not brought up with, a man has to be so strong and a man has to be this way. And my mother was the complete opposite. So I knew that, my dad had his issues or whatever the case may be before my step up father came along. And even when step up dad came along, there still was some things. But my mother was always that nurturer. We were taught to serve. We were taught to take care of our brothers. We were taught to be there. So my whole side is completely different. And that's probably what always kept me in the relationships and the situations that I was in, because I was always open. I was always like, come, like, I'm not trying to fix anybody. Now, see, there's a difference. My mother never told us to fix the man. My mother
Better
always
say
told
it.
us to be that man's neck to make
You better
sure
say
he
it.
can do what it is that he's supposed to do. So there's a difference between being in a relationship and thinking that you can fix the man and being in a relationship guiding. It's a huge difference.
Huge.
So, that was my mom. So that was what I knew. That was what we did. That was what we took on. That was what we knew. Coming in and being so young. I can remember, we had to serve my brothers. We had to make sure that they was taken care of. We had to make sure that my dad was taken care of and things like that. And that geared us into the woman that we are today. No, did mama take, and so see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? And then we can move on. Here's the thing. No matter what it was that I saw, and between my mother and my step up father, we knew that, and she knew that there was things between the two of them, but she ain't listening to nobody. The problem is, it's these ladies out there that listen to people. She said, this is my man, and this is our mess, and this is going to do whatever we have to do to fix it and to stay into it. The problem is now, with so many people inside of your ear, you don't know who to listen to. And if you're not following, and if you're not doing what it is that you're supposed to do from your heart, and you're listening to someone, you can mess up the whole situation. So mama said, no, he's not perfect. No, they're not perfect, but neither am I. I think the problem comes in is when that lady thinks that she is the prize, and we're all prizes, ladies. Don't get it wrong, but so are the men. The problem is a lot of women walk around thinking that they are the prize as well, and the men is just the handle, and that's not true. There is 100% and 100%, and together we are a unit. So I
Right.
think that that's the problem as well.
So before I ask Lenny this question, Jenny, I usually don't talk directly to people. I really don't. Um, I want to step out on something with you first. And what I'm going to say to you is what I've always been saying for like maybe the last couple of years. And this is finding me as woman. Sometimes you have to love yourself enough to know when. But I understand if you don't know the difference of what it looks like, it will make it hard for you to deter the difference between these men and what to know. So the question I'm about to ask Lenny is going to help us to answer that question for you.
Wait, pause. Who's Lenny?
I'm sorry, not Lenny, Jenny.
Oh, okay.
Her
I
question here, the question here, or her
Yes.
previous question?
Yes, the question of where you can be. So before I let Lenny answer the question, I'm going to ask him a couple of questions to lead up to him really going into that question for you. Okay. And ladies, gentlemen, even, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We are going to address this tonight. So are we going to go over our time? Maybe, maybe not. But I know we can't eat everything up in one shot, but we're going to do our best tonight. But do know it don't stop here. Okay. So listen, when you want something so bad, you tend to eat anything. You accept anything for a length of time until you get tired. Mama would say, well, you know what? It doesn't matter what I say to you is until you get tired, until you decide to make that change. But it comes to the point where sometimes it's within you. What can you take? What can you deal with? And will that, whatever you doing, cause you not to love yourself enough to stay in it? Because a lot of times we didn't love ourselves enough to get out of the situations we were in. But the question that we're going to find out to be able to tell the difference, Lenny,
Leon.
Leon, God, listen, I'm trying to tell you, I'm when I tell you I'm so full tonight, I'm
Yeah,
really full. So
okay.
please excuse me tonight, because I mean, please excuse me, really. Don't have my glasses on, and I'm really full. Um, when did you know that you needed help?
I knew as a kid, because when I was molested by my cousins, when I lost my virginity at age 8, when I started watching porn at age 7, when my parents got divorced, I knew I was off. I was called slow sometimes. I was called stupid. I cried a lot. Okay. Uh, I was bullied, and I bullied. I bullied more than I was bullied. When my parents got divorced, I stopped taking showers and stopped brushing my teeth for a while. So I used to eat my collars, like the collar shirt. I used to chew all the time. And I didn't find out about that until I was 47, because I was, I guess you can say, diagnosed also with oral fixation issues. My therapist told me about that. So anyway, I knew as a kid that I had issues. I tried to burn our house down twice. I didn't care. Um, I um I, I tried to commit suicide twice. So I knew as a kid. So I was like, my parents both dropped out in the 9th grade. So they never talked about college ever, ever. So when my dad moved away when I was 11, I was pretty much on my own. My sister, we talk about it now. I was on my own at 11. I was in the streets, doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do. So my thing was, I got to do something. I got to fix this little boy in me. So I started off by doing a lot of exercise at 8, 9 years old. And because I wanted to be tough, I wanted to be strong. I wanted to stop crying. I wanted to get over the hurt of my parents not being together. I wanted to get over the hurt of not being able to protect my mother because she got beaten up a couple of times and got her teeth knocked out. So my thing was, I'm going to go to the military. I'm going to be hard. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to be proud. So I created the person you see now. The person before therapy, I created this guy, which ultimately became a monster, verbally abusive, mentally abusive, a sex addict. So I created this guy so that I wouldn't be able to go back to that young little boy that was broken, that was always crying, that didn't take baths, and stopped brushing his teeth. I'm missing teeth now because of the root canals I had when I was 8, 9 years old. And so I knew as a child that I had issues, and I struggled taking the military exam. I had to take it 5 times, and I failed it 4 times. I passed it on my 5th try, and after I passed it with the minimum score, that's when my life changed. So I had to go into the military acting like I was tough and strong. I made myself learn how to box. I started wrestling. I wasn't really that guy, though. I just had to create somebody that could fool people, and I did that. Then I started believing it because I lived that life for so long. And so when my health issues started to decline in the military, with my personality disorder, my PTSD, my migraines, my sleep apnea, my anxiety, my nightmares, my heart attacks. I've had everything happen to me. It was because of the way I was living, my living conditions, the way I was hurting women, deceiving, the way I was cheating, misleading. I did all of that for my entire naval career, 32 years, up until I got therapy at 31 and a half years. And so I knew as a child that I had issues. I knew a long time ago. I just had to find a place to accept me, and so that I could start to grow and learn and become better. And I did that. I became better and worse at the same time.
Well, what prompted you to become better? What happened? Where did the switch happen? Where you knew and you walked into therapy?
So that switch was like always kind of there, and I was like leaning. But I like I said, even as a senior leader in the Navy, I enjoyed womanizing. I enjoyed drinking. I enjoyed watching inappropriate movies. And so had the Navy. So what happened was, before you retire from the military, you have to you have to get a full body physical. And I got my full body physical. I got, the ear, nose, and throat, the chiropractor, the dentist, everything, neurologist. And I went back to my job to check in. So I drove from the base to the VA hospital, which was about 6 minutes. I did my full body physical, and I went back to my job to check in and turn my paperwork in to ask them to start my retirement physical, or start my retirement. Excuse me. And she looked at it and she said, well, you've done everything except the psychiatrist. And so I saw my first psychiatrist in 1987 when I was 21 years old because of an incident that we were involved in where 37 men were killed and burned to death, and I had to see those bodies. So anyway, I said, well, I'm not going back to the psychiatrist. You know, she's like, Mr. Walker, you need to go back to the VA, drive back over there and start your in process with the psychiatrist. I was like, I'm not going. So see what, and so she said, well, we can't start your retirement. That was the first click. Prior to that, destroying my marriage, destroying all my relationships, I knew that I had to do something better. I had to stop being this way. I was like, I don't even think I can change. I don't know if I can love anybody. I don't know if I care. But it clicked really when I realized that my retirement was contingent upon me completing my full physical and seeing a psychiatrist and seeing a psychotherapist and seeing a social worker. And so that I was forced to go, to answer your question. It wasn't like a click. It was like I knew something was wrong, but I had to, in order for me to get my retirement and move on with life from the military, although I love the Navy, I had to go see a psychiatrist. And I checked in August of 2014. I went in the office, a psychotherapist. I walked out. I went to another psychotherapist's office in December 2014, and I sat in her office for 50 minutes, and I walked out. And then I went back in January, and I stayed. So I was always fighting, and that's when I learned that I was dealing with, you know, avoidance and fear of abandonment, fear of loving, caring, you know, hurt, pain, all of that stuff. It started coming out, and I stayed another 8 months in therapy. So my mental health, my therapy, my psychiatric treatment, my psychotherapist treatment was connected to something that I needed, which was my retirement. If a man or woman doesn't have it, their mental state connected to something they need to keep them alive, to keep their family, to keep their husbands and wives around, they won't do it because it's nothing intimidates them to, when people say, well, I'm going to leave if you don't get it right. If you don't get help, Leon, I'm going to leave. I'm saying Leon as in any other man. If you don't get help, we're going to leave. A lot of times a man hears that, and it'd be like, first thing when a woman told me, I'm going to leave you, I'm like, later, bye. First thing, I don't care, bye. You can get out. I'll replace you tomorrow. Or I'll replace you tonight. I've said some real nasty things to women because I was insecure. Because I knew she was right by leaving me. She should leave me, but I would never admit to that because I had a jealous streak in me, and people won't admit to that. I didn't want her to leave me, but I had to make her feel like if she left me, she could be replaced like that. And a lot of times that reverse psychology would work.
Yeah. Wow.
So
you develop some narcissistic behavior as well.
So again, I say.
So you develop some narcissistic behavior as well.
Big time. And it's like, I knew about this when I was 21 and a half, almost 22 years old, but I suppressed it. When I found out, I got out the Navy and I came back in and was hoping that they didn't find out, and they didn't, but it came out again when I did, when I went through my therapy. I already knew, but my behavior was like, you know, I had a real nasty mouth. I had a very nasty mindset. I would fool people. Because here I am showing up in my uniform with a head full of hair when I was younger and looking like the all-American dude. But I was just a demon. You know, women would be, Leon, you look good, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, like, you have no idea. I'm just a good-looking dummy. But they'll soon find out. And when they find out, and most of them wanted to stay anyway. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep abusing you. It wasn't like physical abuse, but it was worse, which was mental and verbal. Right. I'm like, please leave me, you know, I'm not gonna get any better. And if you try to help me, I'm gonna get mad. One thing, when I would make women cry, two things would happen. I would get upset or I would be turned on. And I couldn't even control that. It was like an addiction. And I brought it up in therapy too. I could not control that. And so it made me feel powerful. If she would stay around after I said something to her, made her cry, put her down, told her, go ahead and leave. I don't care. Matter of fact, I'll help you leave. Matter of fact, I'll help you find an apartment tonight. Let's go. You know, I would just take off. And I noticed my father, when he would say, I got my parents' divorce papers right here. I've been reading them. And my parents got divorced because of mental cruelty. But I noticed my father's a great man. My parents are great people. And I wouldn't change anything. I would change some things, but the way they raised me were great. Well, I noticed my father would get angry. He would just talk about what happened then and what happened last week and last month and last year, and just take off, and I'm like, it'll crush me. But I started doing that to my sons, and they told me, they said, Dad, when you get mad about something right now, you talk about old stuff. And I got even mad. I'm like, so who the, And so my kids are cool now, but we're not as close as we should be because I destroyed that. But it's getting better and better, But yeah, my mouth was disastrous. I could cut you down, and if I saw you cry or you said, well, I'm gonna leave, you leave and come back, I'm like, shouldn't have came back. So now it's just gonna get worse. Now I'm gonna be worse. I may not say bad things, well, I will, but I'm gonna be worse because now I lose more respect for you because you want me and I'm no good for you. I need help. And nobody can. I don't even know why my wife stayed married to me for 12 years. I couldn't even tell you. She knew how dysfunctional I was. She even called me dysfunctional. It burned me up. But in the military, you can't, people do lash out. I don't believe in domestic violence. I don't want to lose my career. So I had to take it. I had to take it. My wife knew well who I was. She 100%, she had me pegged. And it's just like, I want to go out to sea, I want to get out of this house because she knows who I am. I couldn't do anything to make her think differently. Nothing. Because I was a cheater. So once you do that, you lose a lot of, if not all, you lose a lot of respect. You do.
So back to my original statement.
Well, Sean, before you give your statement, we need to take commercial.
That's why I was going to go into. That's why I was going to say you have to understand that it's not about you when you're making those decisions about when it comes to somebody else. You have to look at what you're dealing with, you as a person. But I'll go more into that because, like Sarita said, it's time to take a commercial break, guys. It's deep, but we're just getting started, believe it or not. So we're going to take a quick commercial and we be right back. We're going to give you time to go do what you got to do because I know you don't want to miss what's coming up next. We right back.
I feel like busting loose. I said, Shala, come on, y'all said. I said, Shala, get it, y'all said. I said, Shala, come on, y'all said. I said, Shala, hit it, y'all said. Give me the bridge.
Kenny Brooke, Jazz on the Pike, Illusion. 403 West Baltimore Pike, Clifton Heights, PA 19018. Reservations are recommended. Hosted by Andrea M. Jackson. So yes, we're back, and thank you so much for coming to the No BSDUO show, where we are on with Mr. Lenny Williams, and he's telling us ladies about
Leon, please.
You know what?
The gentleman's name is Leon.
Tell you why
His name is Leon.
I have Jenny
Walker.
in my head.
I said
Leon Walker.
I have Jenny in my head, and I have Leon in my head. But I'm also going, because this is like really, because it's like, girl, I love you, and that's where I'm at because that's where the men came to us at. It was like, no matter what you do, I'm in love with you. And women, that's what we were too. We was like, I'm in love with this man. This man is everything to me. This man is everything for me. But you knew good and darn well something was wrong. But because in knowing something was wrong, he was not going to get better. And it's not for us to deter or determine when it's time for him to get better. He has to make that decision. Your decision come in, are you willing to wait for him to realize that he needs help and be there with him through the help? That's the difference. A lot of times, us as women, we become the fishers. We go looking for these men. And we stay with these men. We say, he's the one. Oh, yeah, I know he's the one. And he treats you like everything. You complain about everything. You complain about everything about him, but you never leave. But you know that he ain't no good. But then you complain the whole time he's there. You're not making it better for him. You're actually making it worse for yourself because now that he hears what you're saying, knowing what he knows, it becomes a whole boom. So this is where I go to my statement of what had happened was, so all of this happened to him, and it happened to him for a reason.
Right.
And the reason is because he was able to get the healing that he needed against all odds. And now he's back to tell you how you too. Because there's a lot of people out here that know they need therapy, or they've been living this way for so long till they don't realize that they need it because, hey, this is me. And then we start building these other little monsters because they see how we're living. And so they mimic what they see us do. And then they become what we are.
So first, when you go there, so for Jenny, her question is, do we become enablers by staying?
Yeah.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do. And it goes into relationships are tricky. That's number one. First, if you don't know who you are and confident within yourself, and you're looking for someone, so from a female perspective, a lot of females are looking for their fathers. That's where their abandonment come from.
Not me.
I said some
My
females.
door no wasn't nothing.
So listen, before she go any further, Dad, you know I love you. You gonna hear some stuff tonight that she gonna be like, "Oh, baby girl, I didn't know." Yeah, I was that girl. That was me.
So some look for their father, and they look for what they connect with their father, and it can be bad or good, because we do have, my grandfather loved him to death. My grandfather and my grandmother, my father's parents, they taught me so much about relationships, not dissing my mom and my dad, but that was not my relationship. The way that my grandfather and my grandmother groomed me into relationships, that's why I am the woman I am today. A lot of times women, we were taught to be nurturers. And with that word nurturer, of course, we're going to help him. Of course, we can change him. Of course, because we want to be that one to say, I did that. I helped him. Or he met me halfway because I was once broken. So now I'm going to return the favor and I'm going to help him. But in the midst of that, we put blinders on because we're no longer looking at ourselves and the mental. Like, I feel like you can hit me as many times as you want. It's not going to hurt me because those bruises go away. But that mental, it stays with you. And you constantly reminded by a movie, by a song, by some cologne, by a t-shirt, a woman or a man who comes in Walmart who look just like him, look just like her, is a constant reminder. And what we do, we hug it, we grab it, because as women, we're internal. So we hold it. And we're like, it's okay, babe, give it to me. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to bear it because I feel like I'm helping you, not knowing that I'm hurting me more by helping you. So I am enabling the situation because now I'm holding it. I'm fasting on it. I'm feeding on it. And I'm not allowing you to be you. And I'm not telling you what you're doing that's hurting me.
Right.
I'm just wearing it like, babe, you all right? I'm good. No, I'm good. Well, I'm pissed off with you. Yeah. I'm good. You want something to eat? Because everybody said, better feed that man, because if you don't feed him, somebody else want to feed him.
That's right.
Better go get that man some sex, because if you don't open them legs, somebody else will.
That's right.
Those things. That was all about being in the household. That was all about giving your man what he needed. If that man wanted to go outside and be with somebody else, give him that space, girl. You get on his nerves. Give him that. And what did you do? Okay, I'm going to give him that. Because women, we didn't have somebody strong in our background saying, no, baby girl, he don't supposed to be out there. Yeah. It's okay if you don't feed him tonight. It's okay if you keep your legs closed tonight. It's okay, because you're not punishing him for what he's doing. You're rewarding him. Now, because I can do whatever I want to do. When I come home, she won't be there. Like you said, we leaving. Go ahead, I'm help you pack your clothes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And that's what you didn't want him to do.
You didn't want him to do that. You felt like, oh my God, I pushed him. I pushed him too far.
And what you say?
I'm not gonna rebel you. Hey, what you want? What you want, baby? What you want? You want some steak? You want some potatoes? Let me go ahead and get them potatoes, girl. Go ahead and put that smell good on. Put that hairstyle that you like, that shirt you like, and we gonna be. We fine, baby. We fine, because that's what you see. That's what some people saw. I didn't see it in my household. Val didn't see it in her household. Sean ain't seen it in her household, but society has. And when you want to connect with some people, you go to the society. You don't look at what you have at home. You get that picture of society. You go, you know what? That's what I want. I want that reality, and
You
that's
know,
what you do.
And when you enable me, I lose respect, and the one thing I lose is for sure is the fear of you leaving. I become very comfortable, and I'm not going to change. I'm going to do it over and over. And then what happens is you begin to lose your strength. You begin to lose your identity. You begin to lose yourself. You will even start to neglect your own family
Yep.
for somebody like me. And I've had women to do that. I pushed women to the edge. This is years ago. I was really bad in like my 20s and 30s. I was really bad. And that's why, like now, when people say things to me, I got to take it. I never planned to talk about this stuff. I was just going to go right off in the sunset, pass away, and go to heaven. That was my plan. But last year, it all changed. And so I know God got me. I know there's 5 times I've experienced God truly. And I'll tell you about that. Just remind me. But the more you enable me, the worse I'm going to become. And the worse I'm going to become, you're not going to be the only one that I'm going to do this to.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where I juggled 3 and 4 women. As tired as I was, as addicted to them as I was, I couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop because they all gave me something different. They all stroked my ego. They filled my voids. They made me feel good. But you know what they all had in common? They were all the same, and they were always taken back. They were very nurturing, and all of them I was able to do the same thing to each one of them. And as as dysfunctional as I was, as disrespectful as that is, as it was, I did it, because I couldn't process their pain. I couldn't process their hurt. I wasn't even interested in processing their hurt and pain. Right. So if one would cry, another one would cry. I go see somebody else. I go see somebody else. I was always running. That was the avoidance part for me. I was always like, I'm out of here. You know, if you don't be quiet, I'm gone. Well, and I'm gone. It was so I had, and it was probably more karma coming to me in life. I don't know, but that's why I'm so transparent now. I want to help people, and I know women are hurting, and I know I trigger women. I don't mean to do that, but I get some messages like they just come at me, and I'm like, look, I understand, I got it. You're right. I can't. There was a time I was never wrong. My last girlfriend years ago, she's like, you never apologize. I'm like, nah, I would never apologize to you for what? You shouldn't have pissed me off. And this is what you get when you make me mad. I was cool until you said this. I was cool until you did that. And all they were doing trying to help me. I'm like, I don't want no help. It's nothing wrong with me. Leave me alone. I'm good. All right, calm down. No, you calm. Now I get mad. I just keep going. Next thing you know, I'm out. You know what? See, you trip. I'm going to drink. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to flirt. I'm going to drive. Whatever. But it just got worse. And I just was looking for help. But I would have never tell anybody I needed help. I was too prideful. I wasn't going to admit that something was wrong with me. It's something wrong with all of y'all. Leon is good. That's how I was though. And I held on to that. That was like a badge of honor to me. But I felt good about hurting women. Lying to me felt really good. I lied to my wife for our entire marriage. I lied because it's not that I knew that it would hurt her because she was strong, but I knew it would make me feel good to just fool her, knowing that she wasn't fooled. She knew. That's what I said. I don't even know why she held on to me for 12 years.
Well, I could probably tell you why she held on for 12 years because I was that wife. I was that wife that held on. And I held on because, like we said, I was the one who picked my dad. You had to dress nice, you had to have a nice car, you had to like music, you had to know how to dance, something that was, relevant that brought out what I missed. And I missed my dad. And my dad wasn't around. And because my dad wasn't around, I needed to find somebody that filled that void of my dad missing. I wanted to love my dad. I wanted to see my dad. And I was a daddy's girl. And because I had daddy issues, it made it hard for me as a woman to become a woman. And I believe it also made it hard for me to become that wife because when my marriage split up, when my parents' relationship wasn't right, the voice that was in my ear was, well, this is what wrong in my marriage. So you make sure you don't do this. So I made sure I didn't do the nagging. I tried not to nag. I tried to make sure whatever you needed, whatever you wanted, you had it. So I never gave you a reason to not want to leave home. And whenever you was mad, Oh, it's my fault. I did it. It wasn't your fault because I wanted you and I needed you. So two broken people made an atomic bomb, basically. So when you were sitting there over there in your corner going, oh, it's your fault because my daddy wasn't home. It was my fault that daddy wasn't home because daddy had to do what he had to do. And because you was here, mommy and daddy don't get along like they used to because now daddy got to deal with work, children, all that stuff. Daddy went out the house now. So now what do? I remember that. The scar is there. So what do? I want to make sure that I don't lose my daddy,
Right.
which is you over here needing my help. And I'm like, oh, let me just hug you. Let me just make it better. You want to go to sleep? You want us to have sex? Come on, whatever you want. Come on, I got you. Come on, I got it. We're going to make it right. We're going to make it right. Don't leave daddy. So that was because that's what I was taught, that's what you're supposed to do. So we have to be careful of what we're growing in our culture and seeing to believe to be our truth. And so one day I woke up and realized, hold up, take care of everybody else, but who's taking care of me?
Right.
Wait a minute. Now I have mental issues. And that's where this all comes up to. We've all been labeled and placed in a box by society calling these names. And these names is what we've come familiar with. And Val mentioned it earlier, so I think we would like to address it. And it's called the narcissist. Can you talk about him?
Yeah, so my thing, I always chose women that were lesser than I was. And the lady got upset with me the other day. She's like, I've been studying narcissism for a long time. And I'm like, the difference is I've been living it for a long time. And so I would always choose women that, and it comes through the conversation. You know, I became a great listener, but in a very manipulative way, to figure out what she needed, what she desired, what she wasn't getting, and what I could do. I studied women in porn to hurt women outside of porn. So I made it was like my goal to understand a woman's body better than she could. And I truly believe that I did that. Knowing dog and well probably didn't, but I had to make myself think that because I wanted to be in control. I wanted to manipulate her. I wanted to be because ultimately I knew I was going to be very vindictive if she chose to try to get away or if she pushed me away. I was always very hurtful in my words. I was always like over the top, overbearing in my thoughts. And so my thing was to control and dominate her so that she couldn't get close to me emotionally. I was afraid of hurt. I was afraid of being left. I was afraid of being forgotten about because I was that way. That happened to me in my childhood. And I vowed to never go back to that childhood mentally. And so I always protected myself. I was always, like I mentioned earlier, I was always halfway out of the relationship when I went in. So I knew going into a relationship, I wasn't going to stay in there. If I did stay, it's not going to be just her. It's going to be her, and her. And so I had a problem with that. I didn't know how to, like I said, I didn't know how to understand her emotions or feelings. So I wasn't like a hugger. I wasn't holding hands. I wasn't a cuddler. It was just like I was just a basic dude. I could get you, but I couldn't keep you. I didn't have longevity. I didn't even have staying power. I was never groomed to be a groom. And I can't blame anybody but myself. My dad was very monogamous. When my parents got divorced in 1976, between 1976 and 1979, I saw my dad with two women. I was a total opposite of that. You know, after I joined the military, when my parents got divorced, I saw my mother with one man. And so I had the ability to be in a monogamous relationship, but I allowed myself to be influenced by men that were broken and dysfunctional like myself. I allowed myself to be influenced by men that were very promiscuous. Joining the military was great for me. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I chose the men that were like, that resonate, that I could relate to in a negative sense, you know, and womanizers, liars, cheaters, you know, manipulators, thieves. That is what like attracted me, because when my parents got divorced, we moved to the inner city of Cleveland. That's where I learned about prostitution. I learned about gambling. I learned about stealing. I learned more about lying. I learned everything. There was no truth in the ghetto. There was a lot of strong people in the ghetto. There was a lot of truth in the ghetto, but I chose to do the things that excited me, the dangerous things, because again, had I stayed in with my parents stayed together and not gotten divorced, I would have never moved to a different neighborhood, which is where most of the broken and dysfunctional kids were. Had they stayed married, I would have more morals. I have integrity and character. I would probably still be married. I would just know about one woman, you know. Instead, I knew about many women because I was exposed to that. I can't blame anybody but myself. I knew better because I had a good upbringing. I knew better. So the narcissism part is like, there's many levels to it, and you can be this person right now, this person later on, this person today, this person tomorrow. The way your mind works, the way you feel like you've been threatened, or you close to danger, or being hurt, or somebody leaving you, or somebody embarrassing you, or you got the wrong answer, or you lose an argument. It's all kind of stuff that was going on in my head. I refuse to be wrong. I refuse to apologize. I wasn't about that lifestyle. It was all about me. And so I had to feel superior to these women, because I always avoided the strong women. I knew when I was with a strong woman, because based on the conversation. But if I knew somebody was going to be easy just for a one night stand, or I can get with her next week, or I can ghost her and call her and come back whenever I want to, and she's going to be there, that's the life I was about. The women that weren't there, like, oh, Leon, you missed a phone call. I called you a text. I'm not calling you anymore. I'm like, all right, whatever, bye. I would immediately go to somebody else to make myself feel better because she left or she got away. So I had to always replace that woman. Even if it was a 1 hour conversation and she figured out who I was, or you can't handle me, I'm too much for you, I would get pissed. I would eventually try to go back to get her. The weeks later, months later, she was still strong. I'm like, all right, let me find somebody else. So I always had to have that supply. And that's what they call it. They throw these buzzwords around now: supply, six-figure man, ghosting, breadcrumbing, gray rocking. They throw these terms around now. But I was doing all of that many, 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 many years ago, and then wasn't even reading up on it. That's who I was. And I refused to change or make an exchange. I couldn't change. I didn't want to think about changes. I didn't want to make any exchanges because I felt good being dysfunctional. That's all I knew until I got into therapy, and I was like, ooh, it scared me,
Wow. And therapy is definitely a scary place, but it's also where you see who you are. Therapy is a mirror, and therapy makes you identify with you, and it shows you who you are. And either you're going to, like you said, you went, you left, you went, you left, and it wasn't until you was like, you know what, I'm not running no more. I have to do this. A lot of people don't go to therapy because they don't want to see themselves. They can't handle themselves.
Also,
when they see themselves, it's like, wow, that's me. Ooh.
Yeah. And also, people, for me, I didn't want to go because I was like, I wasn't even ready to change, because if the way I was living felt so good to me. I kid you or not, it felt really good to do what I want to do, to say what I want to say and not be challenged. It felt really good, but it was really, really bad because I was like very close to the devil. One time I went to a funeral. I would go to funerals and wouldn't feel anything. Wow. I mean, absolutely nothing. And I was like, something is wrong with me. It was almost funny. Like, dude, you got some problems. One day I was in church and the minister was preaching at my uncle's funeral, and I was froze. And every time he would speak, I could see the characters in the Bible in color. And I told my aunt I wanted to get his number because I wanted to talk to him. I never got a chance to talk to him. I went to church another time, and the minister was preaching, and I could see the characters in black and white. It was just right there. I one time was in church and I was sitting there because I always I ain't going to church. If I went to church, it was to flirt with the women and look at their body parts. Yeah. One time I was in church sitting there and I felt something. Something went through my body. I said, yeah, I knew God was going to get me. This guy you're looking at now, I knew it was coming. I was like, I like being this guy. I like being this dude, even though I was sick, I'm like, I like being him. But a jolt went through my body and I left church. I'm like, I'm out of here because I don't want to see myself walking up to the pulpit and crying. I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. And they're like, where you going? I'm like, I hollered y'all, I'm going to drink. I'm gone. And then the other time where I had to experience God was on the
Wait, no.
It's such a true story though.
Val, I know you said it didn't require it, but tonight that went right there.
That is such a true story.
We had to throw the flag on the field. And if anybody, so if you're new to the No BSDUO show, the flag on the field means something was done that the referees got to go back and talk about.
Let's go back. Which one was it?
You said the church and a joke came through you. You was like, I'm out.
Look, sitting there. I think I was Virginia or San Diego. I don't remember where I was, but I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden it's like, boom. I thought somebody saw me shake. I looked around. Like, they had to see me shake. I was like, boom. And I'm like, woo. I left. I had to go. I wasn't look, because I knew the next step I was gonna be easing up to the pool. Like, hey, take me away. But I was like, I like being this jacked up dude. I'm dysfunctional. I'm happy with it. But it hit me. I thought somebody heard it. I knew somebody felt it in that doggone. I got past them like, excuse me. I was gone. No.
Did they look at you? Did they look at you like, what is wrong?
I didn't give them a chance. I didn't look back. I did not want to see nobody's face. I'm like, I'm out of here. I left. And so, yeah, I said, ooh. Because so
And you know what?
Don't get me. I knew it. I knew it was coming. And that was years ago, though. But when I was when y'all get a chance, look up the USS Stark. It was a ship that got hit by 2 missiles in 1987. I was a firefighter on there. And that's when we discovered the 37 bodies, men that burned to death. And everything burned up in that compartment, like where Val is sitting. Everything in there was gone, but the Bible, and it was sitting on ash.
Leon, Leon. He like, where Val is at? Somebody switch my seat. Like, what is?
Look,
no, go ahead.
But no, everything in that compartment on the ship, it burned down. The toilets, the lounge, the men, the body, the beds, except the Bible. And that's another incident I had with God, you know. But yeah, when God got me, when I felt that zap, boom! I'm telling you, I thought somebody heard it, and I knew they saw my body shake, and I was like, ooh! But I left. That's probably the time where I should have stayed, and that probably would have helped me out with my marriage and everything. But yeah, I felt that. I knew it was coming one day, so here I am, you know, telling you all my life story.
I was going to say, you know what? Even though your testimony is amusing, there's always some amazing wording or some like an amazing testimony behind it. And although it's funny, there's a lot of people that can agree with exactly what it is that you are speaking about. You know, I'm laughing because I'll never forget. You know, you never forget those initial moments with God, right? And something happens, and just your whole reenactment, like, you know, you guys watch something and the reenactment goes forth. So just by seeing that, there's a lot of people who can agree that we had that same type of, you know, where it was like, all right, I know I'm not tripping, and maybe I need to go ahead for this time. But at that specific time, the seed was planted. So even though you left, it's okay. And the second time, it's okay, because those seeds were planted. So it did exactly what it was supposed to do for that time. And look at you now.
That's why I'm very transparent, and I'm very confident in talking to people. I talk to anybody about my story. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to be challenged. I get questions all the time because I didn't choose to be here. God put me on this path last year when I started talking about narcissism and my mental disorder, right? But it's like I have no fears, none, because I know what's inside of me. I know what happened. I experienced it, but I just kept running away from it. You know, I'm sorry. I just kept running away from it. But you said, would you say most young men who grew up in the ghetto experience the same life? So yeah, 9.8 times out of 10, most young men that grew up in the ghetto will experience what I experienced. I had my first, joyride. My friends used to steal cars. Everybody was smoking weed, gambling, prostitution, pimps. Everything is in the ghetto. Everything. So we grew up fast in the ghetto. You know, we are attracted to older women in the ghetto. You know.
Yeah, that is definitely a true statement.
So Alfonso, hello, Alfonso. Glad you could stop in this evening. And you want to address what he said, Ray?
I was addicted to what I thought was love, but it was something I learned from seeing my father be with many other women, then come home to my mom. So I never knew what reality was except that what I saw from my dad and other men in my family. So I thought as long as I handled my business at home, I could do whatever.
Yep. That is 100% correct. my father's father, my father never told me he loved me. He showed me. His father never told him he loved him. He showed him. I never told my kids I loved them until I was in my 30s, but I showed them. So I'm dealing with 200 something. My father died at 66. I'm 56. My grandfather may be 80. So you're talking about 200 years of not knowing how to say I love you. I didn't know I
Yeah.
said love you and mean it and feel it till I got married. And then I was like, how do I even say it? But he's right. We show love. We may not tell you that we love you, but we show it by the refrigerator's full, the utilities are paid, the cars are clean, right? The bills are paid. Um, Everything is taken care of. The children are going on trips. We taking trips. We show our love. And men I had a hard time saying I love you, but showing it, I was all about that. But also that paid into my personality. Like I want to be that grandiose type of thing. I want my ego stroke. I want everybody to be happy and look at me. I'm the man. I did this. I did even with my kids. I plan all of this. No, girl, you don't have to do nothing. My ex-wife had to do nothing. I'm planning all this. I'm spending all my spending 20s and 50s and hundreds and taking care of everything. But did I really mean it? Did I do it from my heart, or did I do it for the for people to admire me? You know, because I'm a spender, I'm a provider, and that's more like what I did. Why I did it. Yeah.
And that makes me go right back. And I'm so happy that she wrote that out there. Takes me right back to Jenny when she said, how do you know when to? Because like you have been showing the different signs of somebody who didn't want help versus somebody that has help. And when you're with somebody who knows the difference between the two, that's when you know the cost is real in the investment. Because if I know in my heart that, look, you're trying to do your best and you got the help, you're getting help, you're trying to be better, you know this is who you are, you don't want to be that person no more, you will run into that guy. And guys and girls, I'm not coming just at us tonight, because guess what? We got some females that are like that too. Because they've been taught that. I mean, it's like I always say, you know, it's the levels of grief, is the levels that you go through with grief, that you handle how you come out of this situation. You come out with the I'm angry, you come up with the now I'm crying, now I'm mad. Okay, now it's time to do something about it. Like it's all the different ages of grief. Like I went through that with my dad. I'm glad I did, because even though I had that moment, I had to hear the truth. Because I'm looking at this is what my dad was, this is how he was, and now I got to be this way, and I'm dealing with this with the different men because of this. But there was another part of the story that I didn't know about, to why my dad was the way my dad was. Is the why. And a lot of times we sit there and we say, yeah, you're a narcissist. Yeah, you're nasty. Yeah, you're a womanizer. Why are you why? So this is the why it happened. I know somebody wrote it earlier in the chat. They said what happened was, or you know, what was the why? Why are you like this? What happened that made you this man? And until the man really want to realize that that's what's going on, he's always going to be that guy that Leon was.
Yeah.
So is that the reason why you wrote your book?
It don't matter about a family, kids. If I don't think there's anything wrong with me and I don't get help, I'm gonna still do what I want to do when I want to do it. You can't you can threaten me. Nothing's gonna work until I go to therapy. And when I say therapy, I mean therapy is you get that awareness, you get clarity. You have to want clarity and awareness. You have to want to get better. You have to want to keep your family. You have to want to stop scaring your kids. I scared the hell out of my kids. I would come home sometimes, and all of a sudden everybody going. I'm like, where the hell y'all going? You know, Daddy, I'm here. They like closing doors, and Beverly on the couch like, she knew, but I was always like, I thought they loved me. You know what I'm saying? We going on trips, you know. No, but I would walk up and they would get quiet. But I was the same way when my daddy came home too. Fear. When my daddy come home, sometimes I would pee on myself. Fear. Yeah, and so I was doing what to my kids my dad did to me. Showing love, instilling fear, being dominant, whooping their butt, making them pee on themselves, making them nervous when I sit down and talk to them, look them in the eye, they just, and I really got off on that, sadly. I wasn't as good of a dad as I should have been. I really sucked as a husband too. I was a horrible husband. And I had a good wife. I always had good women in my life. It was like everybody like catering to me, I'm glad I'm here now because there's times where I could have been killed by other women. I pushed women to their limits. I pushed women to their limits, like it was felt good to me, you know. Especially if they come back around, like I'm just gonna do it again. Would you just leave me alone? Nope. So you know, it was very dangerous life that I lived, very dangerous lifestyle that I lived, and I'm very regretful for all of that. All of those years, my kids, my ex-wife, my ex-girlfriends, the people that I was cursing out, talking down to in the military. I did that a lot. I got in trouble for it. It cost me, but I recovered. And the fact that I recovered, I'm like, all right, see, I would get in trouble and then go do something else that was 10 times better than what I just did. And they'd be like, man, how did you recover? I'm like, y'all have no idea. I had did this so I could rub it in people's face. You know, y'all can't keep me down. And that's why I'm like, I don't need no help. There's nothing wrong with me. I was severely mentally damaged. But I was able to function. I was able to continue functioning in a relationship, at work, until one day I had to go see the psychiatrist, and I was in there. I hadn't cried in years. I was up in that psychiatrist's office. Leave me alone. Let me get out of here. I wanted to run, you know, but I had to stay and do it. That's that. So men that want
Oh,
to change,
I bet that felt so good. Cause
The
you talk
ugly
about
cry.
that.
Yeah,
Can
the
you talk
ugly
about that
cry.
actual moment of relief, of
Yes,
releasing? Because sometimes, like you said, you could be bottled up, and so much can be bottled up. Even though you want to leave, just that snippet of releasing. Can you just touch on that for us?
yeah. So when I went into therapy, I check in and I kind of like put my hat over my eyes. I was a senior dude, and I look in the office in the lobby, and there's like 12 other people in there, junior to me, and I'm like, man, they know I'm on the fifth floor of the psych ward. I'm like, what am I doing up here? And they're like, hey, Master Chief. I'm like one of them, don't be talking to me. You know I'm crazy. But they would speak, and then you sign in. Then I sit on the couch, cover my head up, and they call your number, Mr. Walker 401. I go up, knock on the door, and hi, come on in. And my first therapist was like 4'11", little bitty white lady with this black stringy hair that was like covering her eyes. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to get it. She looked spooky. So I was sitting there like, oh, she's a psychiatrist and she looks spooky. I can't handle this. I was ready to go. I'm like, I don't want to look at you, lady. She looks scary. She had on all black. I'm like, what is this? Somebody set me up. This is Halloween. I was, and so I'm in, and she said, go ahead and sit back. I'm like, I don't want to sit back. I'm about to get out of here. And so the first time I left, I'm like, this is not cool. You know, so that was like I'm like, I couldn't pick my psychiatrist. And so I go in there, I go back, I leave, I go back, and it's the same lady. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. And she was just so calm. I'm like, she was like looking through my eyes, through my soul, and I could feel my stomach like bubbling up. And I was like, can I go to the bathroom? She's like, no, because she probably knew I'd have to go to the bathroom. I was just nervous, you know. It's like, just calm down, just sit. So I'm like up in her grill, like rocking in my chair, like, can you help me now? You know? And so she started talking to me about things, and we talked about my mother, my father, and my childhood, and why I was running away from love and relationships, and my care factor was low and no empathy. And I explained everything about her to why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And the fact that she was listening to me is what started me to change, because for a long time, I didn't talk to people. So I didn't know who was going to listen or not. I don't want to be judged. So my thing is, I'm going to see a professional. I should have talked to my wife about this with my ex-girlfriends, but they probably couldn't help me. But they already knew I was jacked up. But when she started telling me, this is why you're dealing with avoidance, Mr. Walker. This is why. This is why. This is what you have over here. This is what your dad did. This is what your dad didn't do. This is what your mom did. And my grandparents were just as dysfunctional too. I watched my grandfather abuse my grandmother verbally. It was bad. And I never forgot that. And so I developed a means to want to take care of women and protect women from seeing that, from seeing my mother get beat up. My mother got her teeth knocked out in front of me, from seeing my grandmother get verbally abused. I was like, I developed this sense of wanting to protect women. And so in therapy, my therapist told me, you want people to rely on you, but when they rely on you, you get upset. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So I was going through life with all of this stuff on my chest, on my shoulders, on my mind, but no way to let it out. You know, I'm going to work, coming home, angry, pissed off, bitter, planning stuff, getting mad because they rely on me. I'm spending money, I'm doing this, doing that. Go to work, come home. There was no outlet for me. My therapist was my outlet. So she said, just sit back. And when I sat back, drank some water, and we just started talking. And that was the first time I started crying. And 2014, and in 2015, she's like, it's okay to cry. And she said, why do you come in here? Every time I went into her office, I had a straw in my mouth. So people used to tease me at work, like, man, you always got a straw in your mouth. I would laugh. Yeah, I know. A toothpick, a Starbucks stopper in my mouth, chewing it like to nothing. And she said, tell me about, did anything happen to your mouth when you were younger? And I was like, oh. So when my cousins molested me, they kissed me. I was 5. They were like 12, 11, 12. They put sucker bites on my neck and on my face. And I went to school that day. I was in the 1st grade. But they sucked on my mouth. And I had lost a tooth that morning. I got the money from under the pillow from the tooth fairy. And I went to my sister's bedroom. I said, hey, I got my money. Can we go to the store this afternoon? It was like, get in. They grabbed me, put me on the bed, and just started sucking my mouth, kissing me. Mouth was bleeding, everything. I went to school. And I told her the story. And that's when I realized I was suffering from oral fixation. Because then I started chewing my shirt collars, and kids made fun of me for that. But it was because of what happened to me when I was 5. And so I never knew. So she started making me realize all these things. And I didn't even know that I was abused until I was 47. I didn't process any. My uncle was touching me when I was 10 and 11. He made me lay on top of him. I wanted to murder him, and I tried to, but I couldn't. Didn't want to kill him because that was my mother's brother. Everything started coming out. And so she just let me open up about why I was feeling the way I was feeling, why I was acting the way I was acting, why I was chewing on stuff, on straws. I never processed anything. I didn't think that I was abused because my uncle was touching my private parts. I didn't think that I was abused because my babysitter took my virginity at 8. I didn't think I was abused because my cousins molested me. I didn't process it. And when she said, you were abused. And at the time, I was a senior leader with 31 and a half years in the Navy. And I was like, dang, I didn't know that I was abused. So a lot of people go through life not knowing that they're abused, not knowing that they're mentally abused, verbally abused. They just want to help. They want to give back. They want to nurture their man or woman. They're strong, but we're too strong. And we call it struggle strength. And we don't process it as being hurt, offended, abused, neglected. We don't process it as that. We just like too strong. I don't want to hear about this. I'm blacking out. I suppress it. I suppress everything. And then it hurt me ultimately.
Wow. Ray Lamar is talking back to you about this. Wow. We talked a lot. Me and Leon, we talked a lot, but none of this. And, it just goes right back to what I always say. Before you sit there and judge somebody and categorize somebody and put them in a situation, in a box, you need to understand what made them to become who they are.
Right.
And address it, not judge it, address it. And when you say address it, talk about it. If they want to talk, not
Right.
push. Not push. And, I remember I told you after we finished talking, I said, you are what I call, you said you spoke about the Bible, in which you probably had another joke after I said this to you the other night when we were talking. I said, you remind me of Paul and Saul of the Bible. Saul did so much, but he knew so much. But he did so much, and he was very judgmental until he went to the Damascus Road and fell off the horse and had a falling off the horse experience. And that's why I spoke of you. I said, because you had a fall off the horse experience, and it was no matter how much you ran from it, he was going to get it. And what had to happen was this, because we as ladies, we could talk about this all day. Somebody will hear us. Some will be able to relate to what we're saying and how we're saying it, but they may not be able to catch exactly what we're getting. And that's why you were here, because somebody's going to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. There are some men that's out here right now going, wow, something that you just said is going to make them say, maybe I need to speak to somebody. Maybe there's not maybe I do need to talk to somebody. And it's nothing. I'll tell you, Marcus Johnson, Grammy Award pianist, my buddy from DC. He'll tell you in a minute. Therapy is good. Our beloved Obama, President Obama, always my president. Don't get nothing wrong. I still love Biden too, but President Obama is always going to be my president. He even said it. Sometimes you got to sit down and have a moment with your family and just talk. We need a mental health day.
Yeah, we do. I did that with my kids, and I was scared of what they were going to say, and it hurt, but it was the truth. I needed to hear it, you know. And so that really helped me out hearing my kids say, "Dad, you did." I need to do that again because we're so spread out. Matter of fact, when we get off of here, I'm gonna call my daughter. But it was just like I was always like on my own, you know, so independent and so strong. I was too strong and too independent, and I didn't want to let anybody in. But going back to what Val asked me, once I got into that therapist, I let her in, and that's when my changes started. I let the little white lady in, and she got in and like cleaned me up, you know. But before that, I wouldn't even let my wife in, you know. I wouldn't even let my girlfriends in. I was like, nope, you ain't getting in here. One lady told me, she's like, I wonder what it would be like to break you. And I'm like, you should have never said. She had no idea. She
That
had
was
no
the trigger.
idea.
That was the trigger.
She's like, I wonder what it'd be like to break you, Leon. I was like, well, let's find out. And she should have never said that because I started right then, like trying to break her. I'm like, it ain't. And she's like, ooh, it wasn't like immediately, like I wasn't yelling and screaming. I was just doing little tricky things, little stupid stuff, like messing with her head, hiding stuff, making her think she's losing her mind. I said, you shouldn't. And from that point, I was really turned off from her. I was shut down. I'm like, nah, she ain't breaking. Why would you want to say something? I'm already broken. You know, you can't even realize I'm broken, but you want to break me more? I'm like, bet. So when stuff like that, it was fun to me, but it was wrong, you know. And so I tried my best to like stay hanging in there, and that relates. I'm like, this is over with. But yeah, you know, my therapist, like when Val asked me, I opened up to her. I wasn't open up to any other women. I was being weak and vulnerable. But I opened up to a lady that I didn't have there was no interest investing in her aside from processing my brain. That was interest investing in her, but there was no relationship. There was a connection, but it was like, if we weren't gonna be in a relationship, we weren't gonna sleep together after we get off work, type of thing. It's like I wasn't interested in her. You know, she's a total opposite. Little short lady with stringy hair and wearing all black. I like thick sisters. You know, that's how I was. So I'm like, I ain't gonna be in here flirting with her. So I can sit here and be comfortable. But when other women want to talk to me about my issues, I'm like, man, she got nice lips. I'm not gonna be thinking about her helping me because I'm gonna be attracted to her body part. That's just how it was. So I needed somebody that was the total opposite.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Going there.
Right.
Look like a monster. I'll be like, okay, I want to talk to the monster, but if the lady look good, I'm gonna be distracted because it's gonna take me back to the women that I was attracted to in porn or whatever. But my therapist was the total opposite. And I almost like, I want to sit next to her, you know, but I needed that, you know. So I was able to open up, Val.
Well, that is awesome. I'm gonna need you to stop talking about the hair hanging down in the front because you got me looking like, excuse me, sir, but okay, no, I'm just, but I want to, y'all, I want to thank you so much for just like letting people know exactly when that moment of release hits you because it comes for everybody in their own way. And a lot of people do feel like, sitting in front of this therapist and things like that, that they are not going to receive change and they're not going to be able to release. So they feel like it's a crock of bull. They feel like it is a mess. And, therapy, yes, for men is an amazing, amazing thing. For women, it's an amazing, amazing thing. There's just sometimes that we need to lay on the couch, right? We need to lay on the couch. So I thank you so much for just expanding on that a little bit more.
Yeah. A lot of times I stay with women because I felt sorry for them too. That sounds weird, but after I heard them, I'm like, all right, I'll stick around, but I'm not gonna get better. But I feel bad.
Oh no, that doesn't sound weird. That happens.
Yeah.
They do. People do it all the time. Men stay with women because they feel bad, and women stay with men because they feel bad. So yeah, most
That
definitely.
big word, obligated.
They don't want to be
right
bad.
back. Yeah, we be right back, y'all. We gotta pay another bill. This is, yeah. And then we're gonna address some of the comments that has been made in the chat. So we be right back.
Can I go to the bathroom?
How do you cross the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean without a boat? You do it right here with a moment, a jazzy moment with Lovely on Cosmos Radio Network. And now a word from our proud sponsors. Cosmos Radio Network of the UK, proud sponsors for the Tri-City Finest, King of the Oldies, Ali Hackett, and the Princess Lovely. The international radio station that playing music that's out of this world. Kenny Brook, Jazz on the Pike, Illusion. 403 West Baltimore Pike, Clifton Heights, PA 19018. Reservations are recommended. Hosted by Andrea M. Jackson. So yes, we are back. We tried to give him enough time to do what he needed to do. So while we did that, we just reintroduced you to our platform and let you know what's going on down here in Pennsylvania. So again, we want to thank you all for coming through. And remember that we are on all musical platforms. And so therefore, if you want to hear us after the show, hear the experience, to understand where did we come from, how did we get here, you can listen to us on all musical platforms, all your favorite ones, such as Spotify, Apple, and yes, we're also on iHeartRadio. But not only that, we're on all of our YouTube stations. So we're coming to you from the No BS Duo Show, TKBSDS Productions, and we're also coming to you from Lovely. So if you can't get there, you can also find us right here on our .com, TKBSDSproductions.com, and you can hear the experience from beginning to end. But not just only this experience, but all experiences. And for all of you who are listening to us from the Facebook page, you can find, follow, and like. Why follow? Because that way you can know exactly what's going on, when it's going on, and where it's going on. You'll always find us right here on the No BS Duo Show. But enough about us. Let's find out, before he gets back into some things, where can we find Leon?
You can find me. I'm on Instagram as Leon R. Walker Jr. I believe Jr.'s on that. But Facebook, Leon R. Walker. TikTok, Leon R. Walker Jr. LinkedIn, Leon R. Walker Jr. And Google. My webpage is up. They had to make some corrections because there's some spelling errors. My webpage is LeonRobertWalkerJr.com. LeonRobertWalkerJr.com. So it's up, but they had to make some corrections on it. So yeah, anywhere you can find me, pull up my name, Google my name, and it'll pop up.
Great. So now we're going to address some of the people that are here in the chat with you. We have your friend Kevin Green is in the house, giving much love and kudos to you. Ree, you want to address the rest of what Kevin had to say?
So Mr. Kevin says he knows Leon 30 years plus, well, plus years. He's been delivered and is an amazing place. I love everything he's doing and strive to develop the transparency and truth he exhibits.
Kevin is a great friend of mine, my brother. I met Kevin in 1980. I want to say 80, what was it? 87, 88, maybe somewhere in there, maybe 89. But very intelligent brother, very intelligent. He used to always ride a bike and read books. And I was like, when we was younger, right? I'm like, this dude, what is he doing reading books? He had a book in his back pocket in his uniform. And I always remember that. Every time we pull into a port, we're going to chase ladies and stuff. He would get on his bike. He'd go for a ride. I'm like, this dude is different. But he could be hood. He was very intelligent. You could talk to him. You learn a lot from him. Very professional when he wanted to be. Always professional. Laughed a lot. But he and I, we reconnected just a few years ago, I believe, a couple of years ago. And he came up here to visit his mom. I went down there to stay with him and his mom. Had a great time. Love his mom. Very sharp lady. Lovely lady. Very caring, passionate lady. And I fell in love with his mom. But she cooked. She touched my heart, my soul. But Kevin is my brother, you know. Matter of fact, we got to hook up and see each other again. But yeah, I've been knowing Kevin for a very long time. Always been a straight up, stand up type of guy. Very mature, very articulate, very, very highly intelligent. And he was one of those guys that, you know, usually you see the white guys that are like, I used to say he was kind of nerdy, but he was on a different playing field than I was at that same age, you know. And I wish I'd had the maturity that he had back then, because, you know, when we pulled, we would hook up with at the end of the night or during the night with him, but he was doing his thing with reading and cycling and stuff. So he was ahead of his time, even in his 19, 20, 21 years old.
Wow.
And
I also was able to see you the then and the now, and to see you now is miraculous.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Mr. Alfonso says, I also had to explain and apologize to my kids and their moms because of the way I was, and especially after I got sick, our relationship is better than before.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Even though I'm divorced, like, I'll tell my son I'm not feeling good, whatever, you know, but him and his mom will come over and give me some soup. My ex-wife is a really, really good person. I just wasn't ready for her. I tried to be married. I just wasn't ready. She embodied the characteristics that I had, but I wasn't using them. And so I was always doing the opposite. I didn't appreciate who she was. And like I said, I don't even know how she was able to deal with me for the 12 years we were married. I don't know why she stayed with me. She was a savior for me, you know, because I could have done a lot worse than I did, but I was always like trying to be respectful, trying to be the husband, but I had some serious demons. No excuse, because I had an example in front of me, you know. I just wasn't ready to act on that. But yeah, I've had people in my corner that looked out for me.
Love will make you do some love will make you leap. Love will make you feel like you Superwoman, Superman. You can leap and create and do anything. Love has that power. Is that magnetic power. And I believe is because we have the love that's tapped in of the unconditional love that God gives us. So that power right there will be able to allow you to do a lot of things that you would not ordinarily be able to do. So usually when somebody literally have genuine love for you, they can do that godly thing for you and love.
True. Very true.
For everything there is a season. Exactly. And talk about not you don't look like what you've been through. Because I've been following your dates, and I'm looking at you and I'm like, okay, how old is this guy? Because you mentioned some years of different things that you've been through, and you don't look that old. You know how some people go, they live that hard life, and it wears on them. You can see it in their face and their eyes. I would never think to look at you that you are the age you are, as well as you've been through so much, and you're sitting here where you don't look like you've been through anything, and you're just telling somebody else's story. not your own story, somebody else's story.
Yeah, and that's why I knew people tell me that often, and it's like, I always knew God had me. I could be addicted to certain things, drinking, smoking, yelling, being verbally abusive, and feel it. But I would feel it on the inside. It would just never show it on the outside, and then I would stop doing it, and I would go back to it. So I had a very addictive. I still have a very addictive personality, and I have a very extreme personality, but I have to use it in the right way because it got me in trouble a lot, and I was overbearing and over top a lot, but I kept going. I would do some crazy bad things, dysfunctional things, cheating, sneaking, lying, and then I would turn around and do a good deed like it was okay. Like it wipe my sins away. I go do this and I'm good. That never happened. I had an innate ability to separate myself from reality, and I get that from my mother. My mother was really good at that. And I started doing it, didn't even realize I was doing it. One time, I got to Cleveland as a recruiter. I wanted to go to Cleveland to be a recruiter and help the kids out, but I also want to get there and pay my mother's rent. And I started doing that. And so one day, the landlord said, "Hey, man, your mother hadn't paid rent in 3 months." Because I made an allotment out to my mother every month. I would give her money. It would go automatically. And I went to see my mother. I said, "Mom, this is when she was getting high. And I didn't even know." I said, "Mom, why did you pay rent?" She said, "I just didn't. Like, what's the big deal?" And I was like, and so it happened again for 6 months straight. I said, "Mom, why aren't you paying rent?" She's like, "Just didn't." And so I realized in my relationships when my girlfriends would say, "Leon, why did you do this? Why did you do that?" I was like, "Just did it. What's the big deal?" I got that from my mother. My father never did that. My mother was always like, "So what?" And I was always like, "So what?" So I tell men, we want to be masculine like our dad. I'm masculine. I'm a masculine dude. But our mother is inside of us. She carries us for 9 months. That we had the umbilical cord, the placenta, all of this stuff. But men try to get away from that. I ain't like my mother. I was like my mother in a lot of ways. My feminine side was like, I don't care. I just did it, And it just, I couldn't even change that. And they'll go, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, right. Oh, okay. What you, and start over. It was just bad. But
you are like the pandemic. It was something bad that happened, but a good thing came out of it.
Right.
And I am so grateful about that. And so good that you have a couple of books, right?
Yeah. So my first book was Broken. It's called Broken. It's on Amazon. I don't talk about it a lot. People find it, they find it. My second book is called Love Ship.
Wait. Why you don't talk about Broken?
I was waiting for that flag to come out.
Let's discuss. It's time to sit on the table. You see, I went and got my tea. So
All right.
It's time to sit on. Why not? Why not Broken? That's the beginning of your testimony.
Yes, and it's because I'm the type of dude that I want to push things on people. That's all it is. I didn't know how to write a book till a white guy told me how to write. I was at the barbershop in 2016, and the barber was cutting, and he was just going off to me, "Man, I need some help. Man, I'm trying to help these people get out of jail. I'm trying to give them food." And the owner of the barbershop was like, "Why don't you talk to the dude in your chair?" And so he's like, "Yo," and I looked up. I said, "Who are you?" And I told him, I said, "Man, I just retired, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Man, can you come to my church?" And I said, "Look, bro, I don't go to church. I have a relationship with God, and I keep it like that." He said, "Well, just come."
He said, "Go to church again."
Was this before the joke or after the joke? Either before the crow or after the crow. Come now, son. Come through. What's
Huh?
Go to church again.
Yeah.
Is this when you felt the joke?
This was years after the joke.
Okay.
And so I went to his office June 6th, 2016, and he said, "I want to interview you." I'm like, "Okay, bet." And by the time I got to the 3rd grade, he said 7 words to me. He said, "Why don't you just write a book?" And I'm like, I didn't know how. So I came home at night right here, and I started typing. June 6th, I got done July 11th, like 59 days.
Wow. Awesome.
And I typed, I had 1,000 pages, double spaced about my whole life. So I wrote like 5 or 6 books in 59 days. And then I found an editor and a guy that taught me how to write, and he edited it and cleaned it up. And then I published it April 28th, 2018. I did a book tour in Chicago. I did a book tour in Cleveland. I was in Barnes & Noble, TV, radio, TV stations in Cleveland, radio. It was like a big deal. But I didn't do any marketing. I didn't follow up with it. So it took off. It was ranked like number 10 for a little while, and it went down, up and down, up and down. And I was like, whew. And so I dealt with that. I did the book thing. Then went back to working. And I didn't realize that, like, as an author, when I put my book out there, it was really helping people, because it talks about what happened to me from ages 5 to 18, from my being molested to joining the Navy. And so 2021, I wrote a book called Love Ship, about relationships. And I was like, So now I got more books coming out. So Broken is the first memoir. The other book is called One Point. It's volume 2 of Broken. That's coming out later this year. But I read this book a year ago called The 5 Love Languages. Y'all read that one? So I read it, right? I started reading and I put it down.
I'm aware of the 5 love languages, but I've never actually read the book on it.
Right. So I read it and I put it down, right? And I didn't read it for another year. And last March, I was sitting right here typing, and I was like, I started reading it and I put it down again. And then I got this idea. I know it's from God. It said, why don't you talk about the love languages? So one of the love languages, like, one is acts of service, communication, physical touch, gift giving, words of affirmation, right? A love less language is acts of disservice. These are words that I created or put together. A love less language is non-touch, untouched, bad communication, no communication, words of condemnation instead of words of affirmation. So I wrote that book, and it'll be out in probably May. I wrote it a year ago. I finished it and didn't do anything with it. So I did the book cover, got it edited. So since you've asked, that book will be out in May. It's called The 7 Loveless Traits.
Wow. I love that.
Yes.
Because we can talk about, you can say, my love language is physical touch, right? But you may be dating a man that doesn't know how to touch.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's so crazy that you spoke about that, because of course Love Day is coming up. So it's like when we talk about the whole Love Day, it's like, well, people always say this is my love language and this is what it is that I do. But if you don't have a man or a female that complements your love language, it's not going to work out.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's you have relationship mismatch.
That's right. I want the book, so you make sure you
Oh yeah, you gotta let us know when the book is coming so we can make sure we put it
it's
out
in March.
there.
Yeah, I'll let you
as well.
Matter of fact, it goes to the publishing company Monday. They'll have it for about 60 days or less. They do the formatting, because the book cover is done, the book description is done, the book is done. They do the formatting and send it back and forth to review it, to approve, disapprove. We go back and forth. So it'll be about 60 days at the most, maybe 45 days. And it'll be out on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I'll let y'all know. Definitely, Sean. I'll let y'all know, Val.
The excellent part about that is that we always tend to go towards, well, this is my love language. This is my love language. But your book is going to say, well, hey, if you're experiencing these things, then beloved, that's not the love language that you want to gear towards. So I absolutely love that. So kudos to you. And I just can't wait to have that and to get that and to bring you back to the experience.
Yeah, I'll make sure you guys get a copy of it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Ray Lamar is still speaking to us, and he's really. I'm glad you're here, Ray, and I'm glad that it's the experience is also experiencing this experience with you. Ray, you want to address Ray?
The number one language is communication. You can have difference in every other language except communication.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Some people resonate more with physical touch, words of affirmation, gift giving. Acts of service is huge, but communication will branch out to all of those. What do you like? What do you need? What do you desire? What season are you in? Right?
Yeah.
What are the components of relationship? What are you falling in love or climbing in love or growing in love? Communication. You got to ask those open-ended questions. You got to talk about that.
And in every relationship or every situationship, your love language is completely different.
Yeah. Totally different. Yeah.
Before we go,
before you say that, he definitely has to come back so we can finish this conversation, because
yes,
we just this is like an orange. We
This
just
is
took
yes,
off the
okay.
first
This is part
the
one.
layer.
Part
This is
one
part
of.
one.
Part one of.
Yes, we didn't get to the end part of the orange. We didn't
Well,
get
we
to
didn't
start
get to the end
peeling
part, but
apart and eating this orange.
there is something more that we do have to tell you about him that he's going to address, and we also have a surprise. Don't we, Leon?
Always.
Uh-oh.
So, before we go and tell the surprise, Leon,
Blood orange. Wait, blood orange. What? What?
so can you explain, Ray Lamar, about your blood orange and why you're getting ready to explain? Um, you know, this is one part right here that I know is gonna be very hard, but I really need people to pay close attention because I see that majority of the people are in the house. So this is where we really, really want to focus in on, and I'm glad that you spoke about it earlier, but I would appreciate if you could just touch a little more on it because we have some men, some young men that have a problem with what am I considered and what am I called and what does that make me after being manipulated by the manipulation of being molested.
So, okay, say that again.
Make sure what you get
Val,
the
make sure you get your dad
Dad
a
said,
book.
"Make sure
Hey
we get
Val,
him a book."
hey
Oh,
Val,
you don't
make
have
sure
to
you
worry
get
about.
your dad a book,
You
Val.
You don't.
saw me
No,
trying
see,
to get the finger
but
together.
see, here's the thing. You guys don't have to point. I'm going to make sure my dad has books. So you guys, you guys don't even have to worry about that. So don't worry, girls. But the question for Mr. Leon was about and Sean, please correct me if I'm wrong. But your question was about how the effects of being a young man and being molested.
Okay. So,
Because so many men don't want to
Mhm.
discuss that. There's so many women who come out and say, "This is what happened to me." We know right off the bat when someone touches us, there is no doubt in the world. We don't carry, I don't think this happened to me. When we know when someone touches us that was inappropriate, we automatically know. But because the man is so their wall came up and you like, no, that's
Yeah,
not what happened.
and they
So
also
so
saying
so
what?
Sean, is that what you were asking? I just want to be sure.
not
Okay.
only that, but as a result of you being molested, first thing is, am I gay?
Right. So what happened was, we'll go step for step. I started watching porn. Well, my cousins molested me first, and so that was incest. So I became addicted to older women because I was 5 and they were probably 11 and 12. So I became addicted to older women. I became addicted to aggressive sex. I became addicted to aggressive women. I became addicted to slender women. They were both skinny. Um, Now and then I go into being addicted to porn. There was a thing that I talk about in Broken called a glory hole, where there was a hole drilled in my parents' wall, which was adjacent to the bathroom. And every Friday night, me and my brother would go to that hole and watch the women come in there and use the bathroom. The hole was drilled right at the toilet level. So I saw hairy vulvas, I saw breasts, I saw big brown nipples, I saw big yellow booties. And so that's what I started wanting as a kid. Girls my age couldn't do anything for me because I wanted well-developed women. I didn't want little girls with training bras. I was like, and thank God I never was attracted to girls my age. Not thank God, but I wasn't. I always wanted the older women. And so when my babysitter took my virginity, she always wore red lipstick and she was brown skinned. So I started liking brown skinned women with red lipstick. My mother's girlfriends all had short little afros. So I started liking older women with short little afros, big ruby red lips, big breasts, and big butts, and unshaved vulva area. So that was my addiction. That's what that did to me. My uncle started touching me. I developed anger issues. And so that didn't do anything to me, but turned me into a bully. So because I started wanting to fight and I started beating up little kids, started bullying my sister. So I could have become many things. I could have become gay, but I wasn't. I'm straight. I could have become a child molester, but I'm not. I despise child molesters. I could have been I was very, very sexual. I became very, very promiscuous. I became addicted to porn. And I watched hours and hours of porn, sometimes before elementary school and most times after elementary school. Could have become a murderer because my mother tried to kill my dad I was like 10 turn 11. My mother was a bartender, and he went in there. He got off work. He worked at Ford. He didn't want her working in the bar. He went in there, slapped her, and she shot 6 times at my father. They both, I think my mother, they were both arrested, but she never hit him. So she kept the gun in the house, and I found a gun one time. And I would sit on the back porch and wait for my uncle to come by to visit. And I would always get the gun, put the bullets in, spin the barrel, and just practice shooting. I never shot him, but my plan was to murder him, and I'd already had it all figured out because I'm like 11, 12 years old. I'm not going to go to jail, but I didn't want to take my mother's brother out. So I never told anybody that this happened to me with my babysitters, my cousins, my uncle, and my brother showing me porn. I never told anybody this until 2018 when I wrote the book Broken. But I did want to murder him. He wound up actually getting murdered like 2 to 3 years after that. Somebody shot him in the mouth with a shotgun. So it could have been many things, but I became out of all of those things I've gone through, I became just a serial dater and a serial. So it did mold me into who I became. And I, joined the Navy. I was exposed to all these exotic women all over the world. So I became very promiscuous, and I didn't want to stop. But it was like in the military, the more women you have, the more popular you are. The more you drink, the more popular you are. The more you fight, and I wasn't a fighter, the more popular you are. So I was immersed in demonic ways. I was immersed with a demonic spirit, and I was okay with that because it felt good to me. I was trying to impress other guys around me, and I did that. I was highly influenced by people that were just as demonic as I was. So being molested and touched as a child, I become very promiscuous and very sexual and abusing women and not wanting to be in a relationship. It was hard for me to commit. And so I was always running from love, but I was always running towards lust.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
So that's why I always say, and I'm going to say it again, before you categorize somebody according to what life and what society have described a person to be, understand there's a reason why they are that, how they came to be that person, why they're the narcissist, why they are the womanizer. Now, I am not applauding or stating that, I'm in agreement with any type of description of anybody. But what I am just saying is understand this is a non-judgment zone. Don't be so quick to judge somebody and put somebody in the box because you don't know why they are the way they are. You don't know what happened. You have no idea of the things that's going on now.
Yep.
Women, we have to be so careful because we want so badly. And because we want so badly, we end up creating more of this. And everybody's not awake yet to this. Everybody's not awakened to say, okay, I'm labeled this, then this is what I am, and this is what I'm going to be. And they're not at that point right now where they can be delivered. So be careful how you name people and say, you're so narcissistic, and you're this, and you're that. Yeah, but you never know why they are. And you're now adding to their issue. Like he said, the woman said, I wonder what it felt like to be broken. And that little person inside was like, oh, really?
I was like, word, let's go. And it's like, that was like my invitation to really be a devil. I was already enjoying the devilish life. I was already enjoying my demonic spirit. I was there. So when she said that, I was like, okay, here we go. But
the devil inside of you stood up and said, my turn.
My turn.
He said, it's my turn, y'all. Sit back. I got this.
Yeah. And so that's who I was doing that dude anyway. But that's when she said that, I was like, all right, what you about to get? Because I knew there was nobody that could be more evil than I was. I was already hanging around the most evilest men and women in the world. In the Navy, I've been around witches, warlocks. I've been around people that worship the devil, all of that. And I was like, that's pretty cool, But it's like, man, I can teach you how to do this. I'm like, nah, I don't need that right now, bro. Just hold on. So, and when she said that, I was like,
you said, hold on, let me hold on to this just in case I need you.
And just in case I need you. And this was a white dude. He said, hey, man, I can cast a spell on any woman you want. I was like, hold on, bro. Just chill. That didn't even scare me. I was like, oh, yeah, because I'm glad I didn't do that because I don't like getting into with spiritual stuff like that or whatever you call it, demonic. But he was practicing that, He said, if you ever need me to And I met women that could do the same thing. And it was like, Leon, if you ever have a woman that's like bothering you, getting on your nerves, just let me know. I could do this. I was like, hold up, because I didn't want to go too deep and stuff. I was already jacked up. I'm like, I don't need nothing else. I'm good, you know. I met people in this world that were all about that lifestyle, and they still around. I don't deal with it though.
You know what you just made me remember? Remember that movie, y'all? Remember that movie? Help me out. It was with the movie. I can't even think his name right now off the bat. I don't want to get his names mixed up. Okay, so the guy was in the movie The Matrix, and it was with the devil, and it just so happened that he really was the son of the devil.
That was Robert De Niro.
Yes. What movie was
Or
that?
Al,
Whatever movie that was with Robert De Niro and being the devil.
that was
It
Al
was like,
Pacino.
yeah, and it was yes, and he sat there and he was. It was like because he knew what he was, he kept feeding him with everything that he needs to get.
I'm sorry. I was getting ready to say devil's advocate, and somebody
That's
said
it.
it's called devil's. I'm
That
like, that's devil's advocate.
yes, that movie.
Ding ding ding. Thank you, Ray.
And with the devil, yeah, everybody's popping it in. Exactly. And that's what it felt like. It was like, that's what, when you're describing this, I'm sitting here looking like, that was the devil's advocate live and in person. Because they was coming to you, giving you everything to make you the very thing you said you was. So it was almost as if you was the devil's son. And he was bringing you everything, but then God stepped in and said, I need him on my side. Because the very people that he chased out of this world, I need him to now go back. So let me ask you this question. Did you ever apologize to your wife?
Yeah, I apologize. I apologize to my exes that I was able to find. I found one that I really messed her up years ago. I just told the story. She's the one that I stalked. I put it on TikTok. I stalked her. I didn't stalk her to hurt her. I stalked her because I wanted answers, but she got away. But yeah, I messed her up. But I talked to her like a couple of months ago. We talked a couple of times, and you know what? She called me because her and my sister are still tight. And when I picked up the phone, I heard her voice, and it felt real good to hear her voice. I hadn't spoken to her since like 90 in the 90s, and I was like,
And you still knew her voice, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, she's like, Leon, you know, we were in love, and I was thinking about all this stuff. I'm like, but I just misused you, I abused you. And she's like, I know, but it was just like it felt really good to hear her voice, you know, because I'm able to listen to her, and I apologize. I said, you know what, I wasn't right, I wasn't good to you. And she reminded me when I cheated on her. I was like, I don't want to talk about this right now, but we did, you know. But it helped me to hear her voice. I'm like, man, it feels good. But I apologize. One of my sailors called me about 3 weeks ago, and I said, hey, man, you know, I know I was verbally abusive to y'all, man. I'm sorry, man.
Aww.
And he said, it's all right. I said, it's not, man. But he was going through what I was going through with them. And he's like, man, I thought about you the other day, and I was talking to these kids the way he used to talk to us. I'm like, don't do that, bro. It's a different culture. So, yeah, I apologize to men and women that I like misled or verbally abused people that work for me, women that I dated. So yeah, it really helps out because I can do that now. But before it's like, hey, Matthew, you gonna apologize? I'm like, hell, apologize. Now I'm getting even mad. Like, apologize. Oh, you tripping? You want me? Nah. So yeah, it was bad. It was I had bad.
So Sean, who is Sean Walker? Sean Walker had me over here in stitches. He said, zap, zap, zap. Is this a friend of yours? A relative?
I can't see the name.
Sean Walker is a relative? Or is it just coincidental that y'all both had the same last name?
Last name.
Got you.
I probably know. I just got to put a face with names, and sometimes I become forgetful.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's not easy to tell our story because it makes us vulnerable.
Is it Sean Walker, not Sean? Sean Walker.
Sean Walker. I told y'all I ain't got no glasses on, so my apologies, Sean.
Dion.
Yeah, I think
Dion.
Oh, he's saying that he don't pronounce his name as Sean.
Oh, we pronouncing his name incorrectly.
Got you. Okay. Well, that's like me, Sean. I'm Shauna. A lot of people don't know that's Shauna. Not Shauna.
It's Sion.
Sion.
Got you. All right. There we go. Sion. See, you know, there you go.
He helping us. He helping us. Thank you.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, thank you.
He helping us.
So, as I was saying, we don't,
Oh,
we're not everybody is strong enough to tell their story. There's some people that feels as though telling their story will tear their armor of protection down, that they won't be able to continue to be who they are because they told their story and now they're making themselves vulnerable to be hurt. Some people don't realize telling your story does help people. But wherever it is, I applaud you, just as Ray and everyone here with us tonight, applaud you for your due diligence of not just changing, but telling everyone else you don't have to stay the way you are.
You don't. It's like, I know better now. I knew better then, but I was still playing with God. I'm like, playing around, playing with God. But I don't have the heart or the nerve to live like I used to live. I really don't. Before, when I was doing these things, I had a lot of heart and nerve. Like, what? What up? Whatever. Bye. I don't like you. I can't stand you. I hate you. I never loved you. Bad. I don't have the nerve to do that because I know I have to hold myself accountable, and I expect other people, the ones that want to hold me accountable. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. I'm not afraid to apologize. I'm not afraid to open up. I help people. I can't live the life that I lived before. It was too much on my heart and my mind. I don't know how I did it. I do not know how I did it. There's a lot more to me that I did that I haven't talked about yet, but I will. But I don't even know how I was able to live that for so long and not care,
The grace of God will keep you.
Yes, he will, especially when he has a purpose. Because we don't understand why we're going through what we're going through. We have no idea why, but he knows. And then it's revealed in time. As my pastor, and y'all know y'all was waiting. My pastor, James Moore Sr., Second Mount Zion Baptist Church, 38th Parish. Yeah, with the church still open. He would say, you may not understand right now, but you'll understand it better by and by. When the morning comes, you'll understand. So, before I go any further, I got to
first, before you go further, we have to apologize, Miss Sion. It's a lady.
Oh,
Shion, I think she said.
Shion. Yes. So we mispronounced. So we just jacked her all up. We do apologize. Please forgive us.
And you know what? For the jack up, this is what I need you to do for me. I need you to go into our inbox. And I need you to tell us how we can find you because we have a gift for you on behalf of the No BSDUO show. We will send you something from our apparel to show that we only appreciate you and we apologize for not only treating you the way you are, but we appreciate you personally being here this evening.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I went to her
I did too.
I said, "Okay, Miss Walker, you are Miss Walker. Okay,
beautiful,
Miss Walker."
Yes,
hold on now. Our name is
beautiful.
Very, very, very beautiful.
So
like,
get that together.
Sincerely apologize. Definitely.
You see, our detectives was on it. We don't play. We try to put stuff up real quick. So listen, he said, I don't know how I did this. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know how any of this happened. But his testimonial song says why. And this is his testimonial song. Now, we don't have rights to do what we're about to do. I'm not sure which catalog he is a part of. However, we're just going to play just a snippet of it just so somebody else can understand. You may not believe in him. You may not even feel for him. I'm not getting spiritual to anybody right now. But if you ever want to know why, this is why. And this is Mr. Walker's testimony to why everything exists for him.
I like that, y'all.
Oh,
Listen. Heartaches, I've had my share of heartaches.
Guess what?
But I'm still here. Trouble, I've seen my share of trouble. But I'm still here. Bruises, I've taken my lumps and bruises, but I'm still here. Yes, I am. Loneliness, I've had my share of loneliness, but I'm still here. Listen, through it all, I made it through another day's journey. God kept me here. Can anybody relate to that?
That's my song right there.
That's what's it. And when you remember that, y'all, you can get through anything. The roads is rough and the goings get tough, and the hills are mighty hard to climb. But just do know, you got it. You got it. You got it. Wow. So the
Aw.
surprise of the surprise, because you know we do it big here, y'all. On the
1 second. Miss Walker has something
Ah,
to say.
yes. And he mentioned this, did he not? Thanks for the invite, Leon IG. I told him last week he's a trigger for me, but I'm learning and growing. He
Yeah.
did, he did
wow.
mention this earlier in the experience that he said
Hmm.
a woman came to him and told him that he triggered. There
Yeah.
you go. That's
And
what's
And
up.
that's why he was like, I know the name. There she
right.
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I hear that.
The
But see, she was really polite about it, and she wrote it out, and I appreciate it. But I had some women like, "You trigger me, you son of a."
say
I thought
ouch
it was
and grow.
different. She told me, "Say, hey, you trigger me, and but the other women on TikTok like, you make my skin crawl. You remind me of my husband." I'm like, oh my, I had to take a break. This was last year. They was beating me down. You make my skin crawl. You shouldn't be dating. You son of a. But I understand.
Wow.
She was different. She was different. She was real cool with it, polite, and I'm like, thank you for that. I know I'm gonna hear it from women. I get that. I'm gonna hear it, but some of them just be like, just straight up punch me. I'm like, oh, I got to take it though.
Yeah.
But you know, and
It's
and
fun.
and I understand that, I really do. And you just sometimes, like we talked about before, you got to remember it's a two-way street. Even though you were the way you were, someone else was the way they were, and that's
Hmm.
what made things go the way they are. And when you're in that type of situation, you have to remember, when you're in a relationship or any type of situationship, somebody else exists,
Right,
and you have to be very careful, because you have to remember, okay, like my thing was, I always was the giver, but I'm giving you something. But is that really what you wanted me to give you? I gave you what I felt as though you needed to be, what you needed to have, but that
hmm
may not be what you wanted. Like,
right,
I wanted to give love, I wanted to be that wife, but that's not what he wanted.
right,
He didn't want it in the way I was giving it, so it didn't work. Did it mean he was wrong? Yeah, he was wrong. Did it mean I was wrong? Yes, I was wrong too, because I had my force.
right,
And that's what we do. And because we was taught, and my greatest standoff, and I'd say it to the day I died, I was told to get what I needed, to use what I got to get what I want. And that's what I always did. But I didn't understand there was another part to that that wasn't told. But you got to make sure it belongs to you.
right,
And a lot of times we working and using, and it's not even what for us. It's not. But then I also had to learn, what's for me is coming for me. I didn't have to go out looking for it. I just needed to be a better me. I needed to love me enough to know when it comes, I know it's mine because of what it looks like.
right,
So, women, know what you look like. And then that way you can make the determination when it comes to you if it's yours. But if you don't know what you look like, you won't be too much help to yourself either. And that's a bad trigger to have too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, y'all. So this is not the last time you shall see Mr. Leon on this platform. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm
Yeah.
back whenever y'all want me to.
Oh yeah, he's
There's a
coming
lot.
back, y'all. And watch how he's coming back. That's gonna be the surprise.
So yeah, let me know.
Okay.
Here for y'all whenever y'all ready. Let me know.
That's
Well,
it,
thank you
y'all.
so much for coming. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming. Thank you for sharing your testimony. Thank you for allowing us to laugh while we was able to hear how you healed and how you are healing, because laughter is healing for the soul. So thank you so,
Exactly.
so much for that. We want to say thank you to everyone who was here, everyone who has joined in. Our .com has been ringing off like crazy. So we want to thank each and every one of you guys that went to tkbsdsproductions.com. Please make sure you guys subscribe. There are some amazing things that is happening on our website and in our website. And if you missed it and you just came in, it's okay. The replay will always be there, as well as the podcast. So this will be up on our podcast, tkbsdsproductions.com. Please make sure you go and find Leon Walker's book, Broken, and look out for his new Telltale, which will be here 30 to 60, maybe even 90 days. But stay put to the No BS Duo Show, because we will make sure we have that information for you.
Yes. And
Exactly.
Jenny, don't forget, I need you to contact us too.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yes.
So, Ree, is anything you want to say? Usually we have an inspirational moment, but the whole segment was inspirational. I
The
don't think it's
whole
really anything more that we need to say or should
no, I'm just gonna let vanity be my inspiration. If you see yourself as trash, no one can see you as a treasure.
say.
And
Yes.
that is
Amen.
so true. And everything, I just commend Mr. Walker for coming on and standing strong and telling his story and letting us see his vulnerability and letting us see him how he's transformed from that little caterpillar to this beautiful butterfly we see before us. And I want him to continue to write more books and
Hmm.
inspire and motivate more. And don't let them TikTok haters chase you off your
Okay.
platform. Get
And
back
if they
on
do,
there.
you come on over to Facebook.
That's
Right.
right. Come on over to Facebook, and if you need backup, we here for you. Don't worry about it. Send them our way. We get them straight for
I appreciate that.
you.
Val, anything you want to say?
No, I pretty much said everything already. Just thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you. I am going on to Amazon right now to see about his book.
Yes,
And is
yes.
there anything that you want to say? I know you stated that you wanted to give a call to your daughter. Hi, daughter. So is there anything that you want to say before we close out our experience tonight,
Yeah.
Mr. Leon?
And when in dating, make sure you know what the person's season is, because relationships start from dating, of course. You know, and somebody mentioned it earlier, but know what the person's season is. Your season could be you could be coming out of a divorce, you'd be coming out of having a miscarriage, you could be coming out of losing your job. My season could I could be coming out of jail, I could be coming out of a breakup, I could be coming out of having cancer. And so when we're dating, people have a tendency not to want to talk about what season are you in right now, because there's seasons and there are reasons. There's reasons for people to be in your season. There's reasons for you to be in their season. You know, learn the components of a relationship. We don't talk about that either, you know? And so my thing is just to be careful when you're dating. Don't date when you're vulnerable. Don't date when you're hurting. Understand who you are, and take your time and grow. You know, believe in God. I don't say that people always have to go to church, but start having a connection with God. And if you think that you need therapy, go get there. There's nothing wrong with it. We have a tendency to avoid it. In the Black community, therapy is looked at as taboo, you know, and it's not. It was taboo for me for a long time. But learn to be honest, learn to understand your partner, what they want, what they need, what they desire, you know, and start talking about relationship vows. Everybody knows what marriage vows are, but we never talk about relationship vows.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Oh my goodness, guys, if you I need everybody, right? When this is over, I need you guys to go ahead. I need you guys to take a look at go on Amazon first off. Okay. If you guys go on Amazon and you type in Broken by Leon or Leon Walker Broken, the book comes up. So immediately when you look at the cover, it's like, can I just say that the book cover itself, and I'm actually trying to download it so I can show everyone. The book cover itself is absolutely amazing. And guys, I am asking because you guys, we do things, right? We do stuff because we believe that we have the voice and the gift of gab to get people to do stuff, right? So we are asking everyone that is on here. There's 3 ways that you can go and purchase this amazing book, right? You guys can get the paperback, you can get the Kindle, and you can even get the hardcover version. But please do us all a favor if you can, and if you are led to, and I'm hoping I'm leading you to, please go and support this. Please go and get this book so you guys can understand and know more about where Leon is coming from. I am getting ready to order my book as we speak. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it while we are talking, and I need you guys to go do the same as well. So when the second book comes out, we like, hey,
Yeah,
we already read the first one, okay? So
right.
make sure you guys do that as well. The book is absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we are going to get this really quick, and I'm so sorry, Mr. Leon, to cut you off, but just sitting here and as I was typing it in, and then I'm looking because you have to scroll through. There's many others, and then you scroll through, and then you see it, and it's just like, oh my goodness! Like just the cover itself is absolutely amazing. And guys, you know what? Did you know? Really, really quick snippet is if you go on there, they'll let you read a couple of pages of the book before you actually purchase it.
Right.
And reading just a couple of pages of it is absolutely amazing. Now, there's one thing that I want to ask you about, and I know you have to go. Really, really quick, because I see something. I don't know. Is Love Ship written by you, or is that something else? So, Love Ship is your book as well.
I I wrote that last year. I published it on Valentine's Day last year. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so guys, so we have Broken and Love Ship as well. Do yourself a favor for Heart Day. Y'all know I'm really, really big on Heart Day. Y'all know I'm really, really big on getting things for Heart Day and just getting out there and just doing it. Do us a favor. Maybe we can even start a book club. I'm hype on book clubs. Right, cuz we're gonna start a book club.
I,
But guys,
uh, I do book clubs too. I used to go visit in homes and stuff, and the ladies be there with their drinks and chips, and we
mhm.
go through a chapter and they ask me questions. I'm going to cut you up, but I do book clubs too. Now we're doing them verbal, or virtual.
Virtual.
And I am really big on ritual book club. So I have to make sure that I stay connected to you. I am really, really big on virtual book clubs. And I've had virtual book club experiences under my experience as well. But guys, two books, two amazing books. We have Broken and we also have Love Ship.
Yeah.
That gives us at least the 60 days before we get the third book to come out.
Right.
So please, please, please do me a
Exactly.
favor. Yes, do me a favor. Do us all a favor. You can get this book. Look at this.
There
Just
you
look.
go. There you go.
Just look.
There you go.
Can we discuss how this book made me hot? How this cover just made me hot? I started getting sweat beads on the top of my head when I saw. Can you guys see this? This is absolutely amazing. Survival instance of a child.
Dope.
Can you guys see? That is absolutely amazing. If it's nothing to want to get to know a little bit more about the book, is the book cover. Book covers say a lot,
Mm-hmm.
say a lot about what is going to happen. And that is absolutely amazing. So, Sean, thank you so much for getting it while I'm sitting here talking, moving forward, and talking, talking, talking while you're trying to, you
You
doing
got some
this.
energy
I'm like, okay.
somewhere. Valley got some energy from somewhere.
We do what we got to do. But, guys, definitely, because I smell a book club coming on. Yes, she, come on,
Yes.
beautiful she. I feel a book club coming on. So, make sure you guys stay connected to us because you never know
Never know. This
when.
experience may happen.
Mhm.
I keep telling y'all, this is not the last time you're going to see Mr. Leon Walker, and that's all I'm saying.
I just ordered my
All right.
books.
I'll be back for sure. I make sure
All
y'all.
right.
I make sure I get my next one. I'll share the book up with y'all. Text Shawana, text have Rita, give Rita and Val my number too.
Definitely. And make
Yes.
sure, listen, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for coming on. I just
I
purchased
still
my
don't
two
think they
books.
heard me when I said this is not going to be the last time they're
Oh,
going
no,
to
we
see
heard you
me.
We
because you
heard
did
you.
this. You
We
did
heard
this.
you.
You said,
Well, we heard you. But she didn't. First of all, she didn't say she didn't use the voice, so we already knew from when she didn't ask us who was opening up the show today, and she just took over. So we already knew what the goings was going.
goings.
I already knew.
So
I
hopefully you
actually,
guys are like me and you were already on there and you guys already hit
Yes,
pay.
we need to get
And
our
you guys
book
are going to be getting your book. My first book should be here by Monday. I'm just saying, y'all got to
because we
catch
got
up.
Amazon Prime. That's right.
Okay.
We got the Prime.
Hey, also before I go, when my next book comes, so volume 2 of Broken to be out this fall. But the 7 love traits, the understanding, clarity of narcissism, that's coming out in May. But first of all, make sure y'all get a copy. But I'm gonna be doing book giveaways as well. So
We love
probably
book giveaways.
before it comes out, I get like advanced copies. So I'll be doing book giveaways every week, probably a couple of days a week. So I'll let you know about that too. And I do the my own book giveaways. I sign them and I mail them out, and you get it. So we'll talk about that too next.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome. Yes, we would definitely love to be a part of that, to even bring that onto our platform, so maybe 1 or 2 people can possibly get that as well. So
Okay.
just listen, I'm already here. I'm already halfway in. My 2 books are gonna be here.
And here's the second book, y'all.
Look at this, guys. Look at
Me and
this.
Cuz are reading. Me and Cuz are reading together.
Yes. Look at the second book. When I said, oh, as I scrolled down, and then I saw, and it said plus, that plus means it's something else. So I was like, oh, so he has another. So you have 2 that you have not even told us about. So make sure
Yeah.
you guys.
Go ahead. I'm good.
He said, I was about to pull my hair to the front like the lady, okay? I was like, let me go ahead and pour these locks
Right.
to the front real quick so he can know I'm serious.
Right.
But
Right.
real quick, I just need to ask you real quick, because I've seen someone do something similar to that. And I hope they're watching so they can see that basically what you said today nails a lot of answers for them. But it also came to that picture, because they did a picture similar to yours. So can you tell us what was the inspiration behind that?
So what happened was I was trying to come up with a book cover, and I came up with 2. And I reached out to a female lady friend of mine. Excuse me. And so I asked her, I said, what do you think about this book cover? She's like, nah. And so I had one of my students, a student in my high school when I was teaching in 2018. He drew this for me. I told him what I wanted, but I saw a picture on Instagram, I think, and it was a white guy that was smiling, but there was a little kid inside of his head that was crying. You could see the white guy's face smiling, but the top of his head had a little kid crying. And so I explained that to the student. I said, hey, can you draw this for me? But this is what he came up with. I said, hey, that's better yet. My face with the kid in front of me, bending down. Yeah. So that's how it came about.
Awesome.
Wow. Well, guys, again, thank you, Mr. Leon Walker, for the TikTok that you made, and thank God for the wake up call at 4:30 in the morning to bring the conversation this evening. Now, normally, yes, we have broke it down that we would not be on this long, but today I felt as though we would have cheated you out of something special. And since this is the love month, I figured we just give you a little bit of love by showing you that maybe the truth that you knew as your truth may not be the truth at all. And there's a reason so surreal of why people are the way they are. And I just thank you so much for the way transparency is sexy. Consistency is everything. And you really brought that out today to show that it can happen. So thank you again for answering that message and saying yes, you would come. So I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'll come back anytime. Y'all just let me know. And we'll talk about the next book coming out and the book giveaways. I'm going to do a lot of book giveaways. I'm giving away a whole lot of books.
All right, then.
All right. Well, we have a package that we putting together for Love Day. We got a lot of stuff. We just got that's already in the basket. So remember, stay tuned, because we're going to need to throw some stuff out so you guys can get these gifts that we want to send to you, because it's all out of love. Not just because of Love Day, but because we show love on the No BS Duo show. That's why we're here, because we loved you enough to say we're going to give you the no. So we're going to turn everything over to our hospitality department as she bids us all good night.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh, wait.
What in the world?
We were so rude. Was there anybody you wanted to shout out? I'm sorry.
No. No, I'm good. No, I don't have any shout outs. No, I'm good. We're good.
I know you said you wanted to shout out to your daughter, because you said now you got to call her.
Oh, yeah. My daughter, Kayla, she's pregnant. She's, I think, going on her 3rd month. So I'm going to be a granddaddy this year. I can't wait.
Hey.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Thank
Okay. All right. Thank you. Here come the hospitality department.
I want to apologize to everybody
Woo.
for being in the midst of it. But no, in all honesty, we want to thank you guys so much for coming in and just enjoying the experience. Like sometimes it's some really hard things to talk about, some hard things to get into to do. And we're just happy that we were able to open up the room to allow you guys to be comfortable enough to come in to peel off those layers. Mr. Leon, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for your amazing, amazing story. We want to thank everyone who came in, everyone who chimed in, everyone who said hello, and everyone that is going to go to Amazon.com, Aspen, Amazon.com to get the 2 books. It is 2 for the price that you would normally get some dinner on a Friday. So please do us a favor and do that. Also, know that we are streaming. We're still streaming live on all of our Facebook pages as well as our YouTube. So make sure you guys go and check that out. We want to say thank you again to everyone who had chimed in on our .com. And please do not forget that within the hour, this podcast will drop and will be on your major streaming podcast app, which is TK BSDS Productions. Make sure you guys check that out tomorrow. We have some amazing things happening tomorrow, guys, for the No BS Duo show, as well as Lovely. She's going to go ahead and cross over. So make sure you guys chime in for a jazzy afternoon with Lovely. And just make sure that you guys stick around for a little evening talk, something new. Just stick around for that. I want to thank you guys so, so much for being here. Have an amazing, amazing night.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, oh, good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, sweetheart.